All right, guys. We're back for another episode of the post game spread. Sitting here, you guys can actually see the video here. I've got Dusty Bensko to my left. It might be right if you're looking at it. And then I've got Joey Alpsmeyer to my right or left, whichever you see. So, Pleasant Plains greats here. This is going to be our first episode with a co-host. So, Joey and I have been doing Out of Lefts pretty much since the beginning. And it kind of was birthed out of a Joey thing that he'll talk about here in a little bit. Actually, because you were so humble and didn't want to give all the details about stuff. You were talking about striking out in the state championship game and not talking about hitting two jacks. So Joey had to come on and be like, but he didn't talk about this or this or this or this. And it's been really fun for us. So thank you for being so humble. And that's what birthed Out of Lefts. So we'll go down his kind of accolades. So if you guys missed it, he was my second guest, and I'll go over why I had to have him back for a third time here. But let's go ahead and do the accolades, the Dusty Bensko accolades. Two-time All-State in basketball, scored 2,479 career points. State champ in 2000. Baseball and basketball, the only two-time winner in high school history, same year. Same school. USA Today All-American. Team junior high state. Oh, you were junior high state champs as well. IBCA Hall of Fame, 524 career. That's ridiculous. 50 doubles, 37 dings, 210 RBIs, 169 runs, 29-7 record as a senior or career, 29-7 record with 2.52 ERA, 298 Ks and 186 innings. Team went to state 3 years in a row, 117 and 22 record while at Plains. At Illinois, moved on to the U of I. Big Ten home run RBI leader as a senior, second in single season RBI all time. All Big Ten team, 2005 as a first baseman. Summer All American for the Springfield Rifles, number one ranked prospect in the CICL. Signed as a free agent with the Twins, enjoying a short but successful stint in pro ball before moving on with his life. Also had a short stint in indie ball. Um, in prep for the first Dusty Bensko, I talked to Dave Greer, Greg Finnegan, Joey, and John Eck. For part three, this was so fun for me. I talked to PJ Finnegan, so former guest, Lanphier High School, SIUC, all-time great, all OVC or all MVC, MVC Player of the Year, Rifles, Cape Cod, Tigers, was a longtime pitching coach at SIUC, now the head coach in Lindenwood. Jordan Roth, your teammate at Pleasant Plains, played basketball and baseball at Quincy University, Bo Gum, Pleasant Plains High School, Parkland, St. Joe's, the current head coach at New Berlin, Eric Gum, the Enigma, Petersburg, Lincoln Land Community College. And then, of course, I've got Joey here. So you're going to be adding in some of your stuff too. So Pleasant Plains High School, Lincoln Land, Rifles, Weber International. Um, the reason I had to have a part three, your episode, Dusty, is the only one that I cannot listen to. I cannot go back and listen to. It has nothing to do with you. It's all me as a host. And I can't tell you how many times Joey has talked me off the ledge where I'm like, man, I did Dusty wrong. Like I feel I got to get this right. Like it's been eating at me ever since because you were my second guest, right? And I was not using clips yet. So that has kind of become the heart of what we do. And hearing other people speak about you. It's one thing for me to say your quotes and Greg said this or Dave said this, but it's another thing to hear PJ actually the inflection in his voice. He means it, how he felt it. So I was like, we got to come back and we got to make Dusty listen to all these people talk about him and gush about him and make him feel uncomfortable.
Yep,
So
it works.
I had such a fun time talking to these guys. I think you'll be able to hear that in some of these combos here. We've also got a much deeper baseball Q&A. I think we had like 18 questions the first time, and I've got about 50 here for you. So we're setting up. It's about 9 o'clock on an evening. We're gonna burn the evening oil here. And all right, fellas, what's up? I got Dusty over here. I got Joey. Dusty, what's going on, man?
Yeah,
How you
I
doing?
mean, thanks for having me back, Joe. Great to
Yeah.
see you as always. And
Yeah.
I didn't feel that at all about the first time. I mean, I'm thrilled that you had me are having me back on so I could talk some more and talk with Joe. But I had such a good time the first time, and
Hmm.
it really helped me just reflect on the past, and then listening to everyone else that you've interviewed. A lot of those guys has really just helped me. kind of reflect back on and kind of be content with, the career I
Yeah,
had and how it all turned out. So just hearing those other guys' stories that are have some similarities
yeah.
really has been beneficial. So like I loved the first time. I thought it was awesome, and I had zero of those feelings. But once again, thanks for having me back.
I appreciate you, and you were great. And let me add one more thing: the first episode that you and I did, we didn't see each other. We were
Mm-mm.
just over the phone, totally blind, and that gave me an idea of like, oh, it's important to see each other to get kind of an idea of like this person's wrapping up or just body language and this and that. So you were the only one that we ever did blind completely, and now you're coming back, and I can see your
Yeah.
beautiful face, your hair is on point. This guy's ready to go. Joey, what's up with you, man? How are you doing?
Yeah, great. Had quite the chaotic day. Glad that it landed on this. You know, when you've got kids and weather and extracurriculars that you secretly want to get canceled and they do get canceled and you hold your breath. So glad for that. But the pod has grown so much from just kind of being an outlet for guys to kind of maybe therapeutically go through their whole careers.
Yeah,
And now there's so many more elements that have been rolled in when you bring in parents and you bring in coaches and you bring in friends. You've got this whole other element that listeners kind of get to know the person a little bit and who they affected off the field. And
yeah,
I think that's what really drew me to wanting to add in a little bit more context to Dusty's story. Is that I had a really front row seat to a lot of it, certainly in the earlier years. And we had as much fun and Dusty had as much impact off the field as he did on. So happy to circle back around on this, and I'm not surprised that someone that his episode has so many views.
it's by far the
Obviously,
most
always,
listened to.
yeah, always I think carried the name recognition and everything. And I think so many people wish that they could have known you a little bit better than just what they saw on the field.
Yeah.
So hopefully, give them a little bit of that.
By far the most listened to guest, and by far the most texting and calls that I've gotten after a guest too, from people just being like, "Oh, Dusty was this, Dusty was that." The nicest guy off the field on the court. He's got a little bit of Jordan in him. He's got a little bit of that killer instinct. We're gonna get into that. I feel like you kind of hoodwinked me a little bit last time. You were a little bit aw shucks on some stuff, and I know that Dusty is a killer out there.
Joe
So
might hold
now
me
I've got a
accountable to some of the stories.
lot.
Well, so
We've
I,
got
I guess I need to know ahead of time what's the rating on this podcast.
let's just let it be whatever it is. I mean,
Okay.
I
Well,
mean,
I, you know, I
it's not
will.
like it's ever
I'm
like
not.
R or anything.
All right, I'm not here to embarrass anybody, but in the heat of the battle, some things get said.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
let's
true.
let's have some fun and be honest as you want to be. And there's always Dusty has the absolute power to veto anything, and if he wants anything cut out, that's just the way it is. That's always been my policy with every guest. Anything you want. I mean, the funny thing is, I never cut out anything, but it's on the table always. So anyway, um, so how about dealer's choice here? Uh, Who do you want to hear from first? You want to hear PJ, Jordan, Bo, or Eric before we get into some questions?
Oh man, let's go Eric because Eric, man, he was when I still feel like you feel bad about podcast that first one, so do I because I rattled off like 96 statesmen. And do you know who I left off?
Where did Eric
Eric.
go?
Yes, who
That's
was a dude for us.
yeah,
Just a great player and just one of those things like that I just left him off and I felt so bad that we texted a little bit after and I was like, "Oh, dude,
if it makes you
my
feel any
fault."
better, if it makes you feel any better, he's probably the most mentioned person on this podcast in
Okay.
terms of Joey and I have mentioned him a million times. PJ, I mean, everyone has been like, "Oh, Eric Gum." Eric Gum is always the answer of who did you play with that didn't play pro ball that could have, and it's always like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Eric Gum."
Yep.
Absolutely, Eric Gum. So,
Yeah, I remember.
and
Yeah,
we're just
yeah. I remember
I go
summers with him where he was just, I mean, unbelievable.
so
We're playing in
talented.
these top level tournaments, and he's just out there playing and dominating. So he was a
Yeah,
good dude too. So I'm happy that I
that
can fix this mistake that I made. So let's hear from
Yeah,
him.
I got a little, so I always like, I have these conversations with guys and it's really fun for me. And then I go back and look at it and I put it into this program and clip them out what I think is good. The funny thing about the Eric conversation was when I put it into this program, you can see this line and it's usually like, it'll be green for when I'm talking and purple for when he's talking. And it's usually like, a little bit of green and then a section of purple, a little bit of green, a section of purple. little bit of green section, and that's how it kind of goes. With Eric, it was like me green for like a second, and then it was like purple for like 30 minutes. It was like he just had Dusty just pouring out of him. He was like, Dusty, Dusty story, next one. And there it's good, man. And everyone says Eric Gum was the man. So let's give that guy his props. You know, an
Yes,
absolute
I'm happy to.
huge talent, the big arm, the power, the athleticism, He didn't end up in Pro Bowl, but I think we all know that he could have. So, all right. How about we start off with Eric Gum, first memory. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, Dusty's ready.
I remember playing Dusty at the Statesman. It was kind of like the new Statesman. I think Tim Hewlett was still the coach, and what I remember is facing Dusty in Chatham, and he hit a ball up the middle on me, and it was like the first time. So we were probably like 13. It was the first time I heard like a ball like buzz like that. I mean
Yeah.
it like and I remember exactly what field I was on, and I just was like, wow, that was kind of scary. I mean, he hit that ball hard.
Got anything?
Oh yeah, I mean, if Eric thinks I hit it hard, then I'll take it. So because he's a dude that was always going to compete and not be afraid of anybody. So I take it as a compliment. Go ahead, Joe.
You know,
So hold
oh,
on.
sorry,
So
good.
let me paint the picture there. So anybody who remembers you from that age understands exactly why. But like for anyone who doesn't know, you like at 13 years old, you were probably what, already 6 foot and 200 pounds? Like how big were you at 13?
Yeah, yeah, a big dude. Yeah, I think I was like entering. Yeah, my freshman year of high school, I was probably 6'1", 6'2", maybe a
Mhm.
little heavier. But yeah, big. So some would maybe call
I,
me
I, pro-
Dough Rash.
I was purposely being nice, but no,
Yeah,
that's
no, 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 I get
uh,
it.
but I mean, certainly when we were 12 or 13, I mean,
Yeah,
always the biggest one on the field, and not
Yeah,
just like big and clumsy, like big and strong and powerful, and just absolutely ripping balls at that age.
yeah.
yeah, I think that
You know what I've
definitely
always thought?
helped me. Sorry, Blake. Yeah, it just definitely helped me at that age, to be, what you guys know how it is in that age window. My kids are entering that age window. It just helps to be big, strong, and I was definitely those two things, and it really I think helped me at that age to have success on the field.
You know what I always thought
I'm,
was interesting about the Dusty Bensko story was that you were dominating at such a young age, and we all know those guys that dominated at 12, 13, hit puberty early, and then they were average players in high school, but that never stopped for you. You obviously were bigger than everyone, but you were also more talented than everyone, and that the talent and the size just kind of stayed together the whole way through. So I thought that was an interesting, part of your story.
thanks.
So, Dusty, when did you start? Obviously, if Eric remembers the first time that he faced you, at that age, do you remember also some of the other players around, like by name or by like? Do you remember this instance? And oh, that's Eric Gum. Like, was he on your radar as like, hey, those are the other guys that are also good at this age?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, like I remember, I mean, yeah, even really young, going to Petersburg. I think we were probably on the same team, Joe, and we faced Bo Gum. And I think we're probably 9 years old, and the legend of Bo Gum at that time was, uh, you know, larger than life. And we faced him, and I'll never forget. He threw so hard. First pitch, I'm like, I'm swinging no matter what. Change up, swing and miss, embarrassed. But yeah, like Bo Gum, those guys. I remember Tug and PJ when we first played those guys, and just a lot of those guys that eventually we all joined teams. But
Yeah.
I definitely remember those little league days of playing them, and I just listened to the Greg Taylor
Oh, cool.
podcast, your episode with him, and I remember Taylorville playing with him, Tim Wallen, and those guys, and those were like my first rivals in Clark Griffith. And
Hmm.
then you just know you can tell, like being athletes, when you're playing someone that's a dude, like you
Yeah,
can tell right away, and it's I
sure,
want to beat that guy and be better. But yeah, I definitely remember all those moments with those guys, and Eric's definitely one of those.
for sure. Joe, you got anything else, or can we move on to another clip here?
Yeah, I mean, I've got somewhat of an expectation that like it won't truly be an Eric Gum clip if he doesn't somewhat reflect him. He's a competitor also, right? So like, I'm hoping that somewhere in this clip, he comes up with something that where he got the best of Dusty or something. It wouldn't be an Eric Gum clip if he didn't.
I know I've got it here somewhere. Where is it at? Do I have it? Man, I don't know. All right, I'm just gonna play this one. Let's go Eric Gum after games. I'm pretty sure I have a clip for that because he mentioned it was something about how he struck you out. Wait, I do have it. We're gonna get to it here in a little bit. This is gonna be Eric Gum after games. Here we go.
Okay.
My cousin Bo, they kind of live next to each other, and I don't know if Bo told the story or remembers it. I just remember it is Bo would tell me, he'd be like, man, Dusty'd have a game and he'd go 3 for 4 with 2 homers, and he'd Bo would say, and my dad would make me take out the garbage, and I'd hear Dusty hitting a mat, just taking hacks in the garage at 9:30 at night, and that was
Oh
just
man.
what Dusty would do. So,
Yeah.
as all the success that he had, he was very much a hard worker, very much, great student, great kid like that.
Multiple people have talked about this, Matt, Dusty, about you would like have a game and then you'd be these guys would be out there. Jordan talked about it too. He lived close to you too, like behind you or something like that.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Both of them guys talked about, them just being normal kids after a game and wanting to go home and play video games, and all they could hear was, this Matt getting balls smacked into it and throwing hard into it. You got any thoughts on this? Or talking with it, say
Yeah. Yeah.
anything?
To me, that started with my dad. So my dad, you know, when you're young, I don't really think that you have the drive to work on your own. You're playing for fun. You want to have success. You want to win.
Mhm.
And so my dad kind of instilled that in me, to practice, practice, practice. And then from that, seeing the team success we had, some of the individual success that I had, I think that, around my early high school years, I kind of developed that drive where
Mhm.
it's something that I wanted, and I didn't
Yeah,
need, hey, we're going to go hit, or
yeah,
hey, let's go down to the gym and shoot. It was just kind of what I did. So, it was to me, I just had a goal that I wanted to reach, and
yeah.
that's what it took to reach it. So my dad hung a mat up. I can't remember how old I was, and all I had was a tee, and I would hit off that tee as often as I could, and then like my throwing program was, I mean, gosh, this sounds makes me sound so old, was to just take a bucket of balls and throw them into the mat as hard as I possibly could over and over
I've heard
again.
that.
And
Yeah.
that's how I built my arm strength, and kind of, similar with the tee work, like at that age I really didn't have a plan. My plan was to hit the ball as hard as I possibly could
Mhm.
every single time. And that was my tee work. It was,
Yeah,
I'd put it in different locations, but it's like hit it as hard as you possibly can and see what happens. And that's where that came from. Yeah, but my dad was the one that really started like we've got to practice. Like if you're going to do this and you want to be good, and I'm sure he maybe saw something early on, like let's get to work and let's see what happens.
yeah.
And then, high school age, I kind of took over myself. But like the hooks for that mat are still in the garage in Plains. No mat
Really?
anymore though.
That's awesome. Joe, you got anything?
Just to echo the same thing, even in the summer times, like before, all of us wanted to go swimming and play video games and all that. And it's not that Dusty didn't also do that stuff, but he would just be like, "Hey, I got to do 30 minutes hitting, and then we got to practice basketball, and then I can do it." And it was just,
Yeah,
I mean, obviously that brought us along as well, right? Like we all then jumped in and did some of the same stuff. But yeah, I remember certainly attribute that to your dad as well. There was a work ethic for you much earlier than I remember really anybody else. We were still playing for fun, and you were obviously working on something.
Joe, do you think that put pressure on the rest of the Plains teammates to kind of rise up their level of trying?
So I never felt it that way. Like I would almost put it back on Dusty and ask like, did you feel like not that I was oblivious to it, but like just kind of by osmosis of being around, right? Like you had to play hard and you had to
Yeah.
hang somewhat. But I would say, did you ever feel pressure that like you were clearly the biggest and the best? Did you feel like you had to deliver every single time at the plate? Because I
Mm.
think I asked you that, Blake, the other day, is
Yeah.
that I wonder if you felt that pressure that you were so good that the expectation was almost like you have to deliver every single time.
Uh,
Great question.
Man, that's a great question. I never felt it like for my teammates. You know what I mean? For you guys, like our teams. I mean, we're so lucky. Like I've been very high school Harryish lately because like this year's 25 years from basketball and 25 years from baseball. And so I've really been like reflecting on, and I never felt that way. I felt like as a team we carried each other, and I knew that if I didn't step up, i.e. the final winning of the state championship, like you guys were there to do it. So and on the basketball court too, if I was having an off night, I knew someone was going to step up, and I just think that we trusted each other. And I was far from the only one working, like Joe said. Like, did we have our fun? Of course we did. But like guys were working their butts off, getting extra shots after practice, and just really working. So I never felt that. Maybe I felt that pressure to perform to get to the goal that I wanted, like for just a goal for me, but never like for the team. So no, I never felt that.
And I
Is that what
think
you
that
mean?
might be I think that might be the benefit of growing up in a small town, because like I can't say the same for my kids now. We kind of had the benefit that there were only a certain number of us that were going to make the team in the small town
Yeah.
anyway, right? So if it was a little bit more competitive of a nature, maybe some would have gotten left behind. But ultimately, as long as we were all sort of sticking together and growing together. It wasn't a huge thing where you looked around and said, "Hey, there's 15 other guys trying to take my spot." It was just kind of like, "Hey, here's this group of 20 or 30 of us, and we're going to grow up together," and that was
Yep.
it.
And I think it
That's so
speaks a lot
special.
to like our coaches we had growing up too. They just instilled in us that you win, and that's just what you do, and that's the expectation, and that's why we play. From young age with like my dad, Carter Hendren, Greg Miles, to middle school, Coach Greer, Coach Cameron, Coach Watson, Coach Skinner, like those guys, like winning was the only option, and I think that we just all really did it together, and that's like Joe and those guys, Blake, are my best friends, and they always will be. And I go back and I watch my nephew play basketball with his second grade buddies from Pleasant Plains, and it like makes me miss that small town, like
Yeah.
that he's playing second grade basketball with his guys that he's going to play with in high school, and like that just gets me sentimental and missing those times. Sorry to go off on a tangent there.
No, I love that. It's actually there was a question that I was going to ask you a little later, but I want to ask it now, and you don't even know it's coming. Obviously, you and your wife are both Pleasant Plains people, right? Born and bred. Yeah. And
Yes.
now you guys are like you're living in Chicago. Like I'm seeing videos of you playing catch with your daughters with buildings in the background, and like you're on concrete, right? So
Yep.
what? I mean, how do you? Um, so I mean, what are the cons of raising these kids in the city versus do you feel like you're missing out on some of these small town things that you grew up with that were so special to you? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, that's a heavy question.
No, that's a heavy question. Yeah, so yeah, and that's what I'm talking about when I went and saw my nephew
Yeah,
play basketball. Like that was a moment where I was like, man, my kids have their great school friends, and our school community that they go to is awesome, great sports, great stuff, but like every one of them's probably going to go to a different high school. It's just
right.
it's just how it works up here. So and not that one's better than the other. I've kind of seen both sides of it. And I loved my experience in high school and growing up in a small town. And I think that
Hmm.
if you ask them, they're enjoying theirs, and they don't know any differently. So,
Right.
do I think
But
they're
you know the
missing out?
difference.
Just maybe on a few things here and there.
Yeah,
But keeping those friends throughout life. Like if we get together now, we don't miss a
yeah,
beat, and I hope that she has that with her school friends now. But
yeah.
overall, like it's a good experience, and how the sports landscape has changed so much too, that
So much.
with like I think maybe Ryan O'Malley said it, that travel is the new rec, and there's just less community uh, sporting events up here, but overall
Yeah.
they're having a good experience. But yeah, I really
Right.
cherish my time at Plains and with all those guys and the coaches and the community, and like anytime I go back, you can call me a nerd. I do get like sentimental just driving into town, driving past the school.
Sure.
So just some great memories.
Yeah, I mean, you guys did something so special that I mean, it's forever in the history. So I totally get why you coming back into town would feel these, kind of things built up. You guys ready to move on to the next Eric Gum here? We've got quite a bit of Eric Gum. Like I said,
Sure.
Yeah,
he had some things to
we
say.
kind of hijacked his quotes there,
Yeah.
didn't we?
I got a couple of Pleasant Plains boys. This is going to turn into the
I
Plains
know, I know.
podcast. All right,
We could talk for several nights.
all right. Here we go. Eric Gum. He for sure had it.
The Jordan stuff, the Mamba mentality or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he for sure had it. He for
Killer.
sure had it.
Mhm.
But so when we faced him my senior year, like he went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. And what I knew, I wasn't gonna. I was like, "Hey, Dusty, I'm gonna hit you in the face every time. So, like, you're not gonna beat me." And I think that kind of threw him off, and I think he was pressing really hard. But if I would have said, "Hey, Dusty, I'm gonna strike you out," like he would have been like, "Oh no, that ain't happening." So I think I kind of had a different. I had a different approach just because he was like. Eric,
Yeah.
Eric was just kind of insane. That he really could hit
Right.
me in the face with this ball. Like, and I think
might do
that's yeah. Now,
What's so funny about that is like if you guys don't know, I mean, you guys obviously know Eric Gum, but not everyone out there does. Like, and this is from a loose cannon saying it. Eric Gum was known as a little bit of a loose cannon back in the day. Like, if he told you he was going to hit you in the face, he might actually be thinking like, is he going to do this? So, all right, go ahead, take it over, man. You got anything?
No, no. I mean, he had my number that day. So, but yeah, he's right. Like I remember, like my motivator was people doubting us, or this guy's supposed to go here. They said this in the paper. This person picked these guys to win. No, and I think I maybe got that, Joe. You might like from Coach Greer, because that's kind of how Coach Greer lives. He just needs to feel like someone is doubting him all the time, and
Yeah,
I kind of
Yeah,
took that and ran with that.
yeah, almost tried to manufacture a feeling of putting your
Yes,
back against the wall. He always wanted
really.
that feeling that, don't I mean, of the things he's been really successful at, motivating kids and things, he did always have a way to frame things that I think he knew we were good, and Dusty especially, and he always tried to frame things from a mindset perspective to never let yourself get too big on you. And like he did sometimes play those mind games to kind of keep you always, razor sharp and super aggressive, and don't, he just wanted you to play your absolute best every time. So and by the way, that was exactly the type. It's good to hear that Eric Gum is still the exact same Eric Gum that I remember.
me too. Yeah,
We were
he could
just
pitch
talking
too.
about that, and there was the clip. Yep.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
happy that clip is there.
All right, here we go. Next one. How do I follow that up?
Dusty was lights out. I mean,
Uh-huh.
ridiculously on fire, and
Uh-huh.
so I'm hitting behind him every time, and I'm just like, wow. I know this is a cliche kind of statement, but I was like, I literally felt as a 17, 18-year-old, like, how do I follow that up? Like, I have to hit behind that, and
Yeah.
it was, I never had that feeling before of just like, because I was I was a good player in Menard County, but I'm up here and I'm like, I can't follow that up. I mean, he just hit one 450,
Yeah.
and it was the swing was awesome and all that stuff, and I was just like, oh, that is insane, and
Yeah.
and he pitched well. Like some of our greatest wins on the Statesman, Dusty Bensko pitched those games. He beat the Indiana Bulls, which I mean the
Right.
team was loaded with draft picks. He
Always.
pitched, he pitched well in big tournaments and stuff like that. But
All right, that's the last one of that. You guys got anything?
Just yeah, Statesman baseball was another place. Like I keep going back to winning, and like I joke with the teams I coach now. Like rule number one is have fun. I think the most fun thing to do is win. But and that was also like Greg Finnegan, Tim Hewlett, and those guys. So Eric's right. Like I did have some success on the mound for the Statesman, but once again, we had some guys on that team that could really play. Even guys that maybe didn't play like Division One, or they were just
Mhm.
great high school players, great college players, and once again they just had that winning trait. And once you catch the bug of winning, it's just something that you're going to continue to want to do forever. So those Statesman years with those guys were some fun summers of baseball.
Mhm.
Dusty, did you Did you guys ever struggle to stay motivated and stay sharp? Like, I know that you played super, top talent, but obviously there's some 25 to 1, 20 to 0, you know, lopsided ones in there. Did it ever, or was anyone sort of like the spark plug or the one that stayed on top of it to make sure that, like, hey, we stay sharp for the next one?
Yeah, I mean the coaches were, Tim Hewlett and then Greg Finnegan. Andy Danner coached us some too, and those guys were all just winners. But PJ was definitely that guy. Like, you know, PJ was a guy that was all about winning, was always on top of it, was always focused on the game, was super sharp mentally. And if any of us, kind of wavered at all, I feel like it was PJ that was the guy that was going to bring us together and bring us
Oh,
back. The shortstop, pitcher, dad's the coach, and
yeah,
just it's no surprise the level he's coaching at and the success he had as a
for
player. But
sure.
he was definitely that guy for us on the Statesman because you guys know how it is. No matter how focused you are, summer baseball sometimes there's some days out there where even at the high school level, it's a grind. You're playing
Yeah,
your fourth game in 3 days, and PJ was a guy that was always going to be locked in and ready to roll, and he was going to make sure that we were too. So uh, he was definitely that guy for us, along with if you know Greg Finnegan, like you're there for business only, and it was going to be a good time, but it was going to be a good time because of the result of the game, and for
yeah.
no other reason.
I just posted a clip the other day. It was from PJ's podcast, and I think it's titled "Finnegans Are About Winning," and they are. Those Finnegans are about some winning. Next clip is called Memphis Barbecue, and I named it this because he threw some story in about Memphis barbecue that really had nothing to do with the story, but I found it so humorous that I just left it in. So here we go.
Honestly, the first time I've ever had, like Memphis barbecue. So, it was kind of a big deal, and I was kind of nervous. Like, what do I order? Do I get ribs? It was first time. So, and then I remember eating like, okay, this is good. This is. And then someone, and I was like, wait, what did you just say? Dusty just went. He went 16 for 16 this season, and they're like, yeah, like, and it was all like line drives and home runs and shit like that. And
Wow.
that was the stuff, like you said, the Paul Bunyan stuff that he would do. And it was
Right.
just, and he would do it in the way where you were like really pulling for him. Like you couldn't hate
Hmm.
as much as success as he had. Not a single person was jealous of them. Like, I'd be jealous of PJ if PJ hit 400. I'd be like, I'm gonna do that. But like when Dusty did it, you were just like in awe. It
Right.
was just like, and then like you said, he's the nicest guy ever. He would never come back and be like, say something that rubbed you the wrong way. Like, okay,
Yeah.
dude, we know you're good. Like that was the furthest thing from everyone's mind. And I think that's, really hard to do with you got a bunch of, competitive guys and we're all like competing against each other. We want to be good. We want to fit in. And then it was Dusty on top just being, and we were all just kind of like said in awe
Oh,
of what he was doing. And it just,
Uh-huh.
like I said, it's something that I'll never forget. My best memories.
So there's the Memphis barbecue story.
yeah, you're right.
That's
That
sort
is
of all
all
it
over
had
the
to do with
place.
it.
Yeah,
So, I mean, considering all the crazy stories that you could have from summer baseball, I thought that was definitely going some other
me
direction. But
too.
it also doesn't surprise me at all that was his train of thought, that he remembers that exact moment and he ties it to the barbecue, and then Dusty going 16 for 16 in a tournament like that's. Uh, like there's something about Eric that's just so endearing. Like
There
I
is.
played against him.
There is.
I
What is it?
literally played against him. I mean, so he was a year ahead. So I was a junior when he was a senior. Maybe we played against each other a little bit besides that. But then literally, I only had 1 year with him at Lincoln Land,
Hmm.
and we played in one random wood bat league in Peoria. So like the the amount of memories and the things that I put together with him are actually not from a very long,
Hmm.
amount of time. But yes, not that I got nervous, but if you think about all the antics that go on when you're, out to eat and in between games and such, Eric liked to have fun and he liked to stir it up and mix it up a little bit. So he could usually pinpoint the guys that would do either if you got uncomfortable easy, he would be the one that would stand up and get the waitress to come over and do like
Yep.
happy birthday or whatever, or he would find the gullible ones that would fall for anything. So I thought that was going somewhere else.
Me too. I'm happy it went where it went, not there.
I just like how he was like, I was nervous, I didn't know what to get, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, Dusty went 16 for 16. I was just, and I totally agree with you guys. And Joey, you probably remember this. I don't know if why I'm even saying this, but Eric and I almost got into a fight one time at a party at your house when during the Lincoln Land days, and I love that guy now. So there is absolutely something about Eric Gum that is lovable and kind of draws you in. So anyway, Eric Gum, no Larry Bird. Here we go.
It's crazy how night and day. Now he wasn't like a Larry Bird shit talker, you know. He and sometimes he needed a little coaching of how mean he could be because he was so fucking nice, you know, like but how nice he was and how much of a bulldog he could be, it still was night and day. You know, like for me, I'm between the lines and I'm telling someone to F off. And like I said, PJ would have no problem buzzing someone in the ear and standing in the front of the mound. But like I said, for Dusty to be as nice as what he was, to have that level, I think he was more in basketball. And I don't know. I think Bo and I were talking about this. Did he tell you about like the Gus Macker where some dude like blocked his shot? Yeah, it was just like that was kind of how you weren't gonna beat him, and he would just. But yeah, if someone, I mean, we faced a lot of players, a lot of good players where they would, you know, they would chirp at us, and you know, sometimes it would be like I said, a draft pick who's like, who these guys think they are competing with us, and they'd mouth off and call us country boys and stuff like that, and you know, Dusty would hammer it, and then he would just kind of shrug his shoulders and with that fucking smile and just be like, I don't know what else he thought was gonna happen.
I love that. I don't know what else you thought was going to happen. What a line. You guys got anything?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he nailed it. So, like the statesman, and yeah, Eric could talk. He could talk, but he could also back it up. So he was just a great dude, a
Yep.
great teammate. We got along so well off the field too. You know, I'll never forget. Man, I don't know where we were playing. Maybe in like Ohio. I'm in my hotel room. And all of a sudden I just hear him, he's just going crazy in the other room. So I run over there. I thought it was an emergency. I thought something happened. Like family wise, the Cubs traded Terry Mulholland. So he was so furious. He was so furious. I mean,
Not Terry Mulholland.
the most upset I think I've ever seen him was that moment. I mean, I'm like, am I gonna have to call 911? What happened? Cubs made a trade that he didn't like.
I
So
wasn't expecting that outcome there. All right, I
no,
got two
that's
more
Eric.
Eric Gums here. They're terrific. Let's go. What's Dusty like? And then you got to meet Dusty. Here we go.
Tell people when you know sitting at the office tavern like, hey, what's Dusty like? And I'd be like, you know, Dusty he paid for everyone's drinks and he would like be honored to do it. That's like the guy he was. And then, but like I said, you get between the lines and he could go up a level for sure. So, you know, that always stuck out is just like when people said his name, you know, all of his greatness, just how great of a guy he was. And like I said, even as a young teenager, was so nice.
All right, and then the last one, you got to meet Dusty.
And, you know, I'd hear people talk like that never met him. And they would just be like, oh, we played planes. And, you know, they beat us and they were jerks and they would do trick plays and all that stuff. But it was just, I would be like, no, man, you got to meet Dusty. Like he's not like how you're trying to portray him. I mean, yeah, he probably pitched a no-hitter against you or something crazy, but you know, he would have literally, you know, he would shake your hand and just be like, "Thank you so much for coming to play me." Like it was just the wildest. It was crazy. It was just the wildest thing. Like,
All right, fellas, that concludes our Eric Gum. You guys got anything before we move on here?
Yeah, yeah. Just to me, like the last piece is what I appreciate more than anything. You know, just like for him to think that highly of me, and it's got nothing to do with like anything hitting a ball or striking
Yeah,
anyone out. And
just you as a
you know, I
person.
just think that comes from like the values that my mom and dad raised me, and you know, the
Mhm.
respect that I have for people, and you know, that's what I'm trying to pass along to my children. And so to hear him say that, and it's a mutual feeling of respect with him and like all the guys I played with or against.
Mhm.
So to hear that is a higher compliment than anything anyone can ever say about anything I ever do on the field or court. So it's 100% appreciated. A good dude.
Well said.
Yeah,
And it would have been so easy for you as this, I guess it was kind of local, but I mean, you were, everyone thought you were so up here, and it would have been so easy to get a big head and be kind of this high school guy that was kind of full of himself, but nobody has ever spoken about you in that way, and that says a lot to you. It says a lot about, the house that you were raised in. So shout out to your parents as well.
Yeah.
Great job.
yeah.
Thanks.
Eric made an interesting point there too, where it was like I drew this line as well that anytime Dusty did well, I don't think anyone on our team ever felt the pressure that we have to immediately go up and do that also. I mean,
Hmm.
anytime hitting behind you in the lineup, it was like, oh, now the pressure is on that we have to prove ourselves. It was always just like, okay, hey, next man up, get on base. It was never. That's a weird dynamic because he also mentioned something about PJ too, because it's like I think there are elements that a lot of us were never made to feel any less or not on the same level. But then also there was this really weird element that it was always all of us included, right? It was never like uh, externally everyone may only tell the story about Dusty, but internally, no, not you, not your family, not coaches, not anybody ever made it any different that it was just your show and not anybody else's. And that's I mean, even more so as an adult looking back, it's maybe harder to comprehend how it was that way. Um, but it truly wasn't.
Yeah,
I'm so
it
glad
was
that you're
that
on
way
this,
because it
Joey.
wasn't my
Great
show, Joe. It
context.
was our show. Sorry, Blake. It was
Right.
everybody's
No,
show. Go ahead.
no, I was just saying thank you for being on here, Joe. You're giving such great
Yeah,
context.
yeah,
I'm
I
so
love it.
happy that you joined on here. Yeah, so you felt like it was everyone's show, not the Dusty show.
And he made it that way too. It wasn't. I mean,
Yeah.
it was never about his own stats. It was truly always about winning. It was getting everybody hyped up. It was holding everyone accountable. And it was. Um, it was fun and joking right up to the line that it was okay, now it's time to go. And then it was kind of like flipping a switch, and it was like, it went from could laugh and joke about literally anything, and then when the time to go was the time to go, now it's only let's kick their ass and there's nothing else, that you can talk about.
Yeah, love that. Well, Dusty, we're through our Eric Gum here. Who do you want to go to next? We got PJ, we got Jordan, we got Bo.
Let's go, Bo.
State
Little
of the
another
family.
Pleasant Plains connection.
Well, let's go right to this Gus Macker story because I believe Eric mentioned it here. So, Gus Macker.
The other one I had was down on the list. Yeah. Yep. So we were down in Havana. We went to a 3-on-3 tournament. This is after college. We're done. We're has been. So it's Bensko, Jordan Roth. I'm sure you know Jordan.
Of course.
Me and Lance Giesler. So we go in there. Our first game of the 3-on-3. We're playing some guys. I think they're from Peoria. Some guys from the city that have no idea who Dusty or Jordan was. So Dusty's goofing around, messing around, and I'm pretty sure these kids get up on us 7-0 and kind of start chirping a little bit. Dusty goes in for a layup, gets blocked. Gets the loose ball, shoots it again, gets blocked. Now the kid's starting to talk trash to Dusty. Dusty shoots again. Kid just stuffs it right in his face, and now he's talking a lot. Dusty, one power dribble, elbow into the chest, layup. Basically, I can't remember exactly what he said. Probably can't repeat it if you're putting on a podcast. But we are down 7-0. That's just a perfect example of how competitive Dusty was. I think we win that game 21-11.
Wow.
He just, that kid, but he flips the switch. Hold on, Mike. He flips that switch, and I've heard several coaches say, if you're playing against Dusty Bensko, don't piss him off.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Don't give
there
him
we
an
go.
extra reason to flip the switch, though. But yeah, so I saw it just when,
I love
even
that.
when we were has-beens, he goes down to Havana.
Yeah.
Some kid ticks him off, and he rattles off 14 straight.
I love that.
What a great clip. I'd love to talk about this flip being switched. You got anything?
Yeah, no. I think Bo nailed it. Yeah. If I was always looking for a little bit extra motivation, and I think all of us as a team were, and I don't know when that started, but yeah, if you made me mad or a call didn't go our way, like, I think that's all we needed to get going. And some nights we didn't even need that, but that was really one of the motivators for me is like I think I mentioned it on the first time around, and it was just like a blind belief in myself that I could get it done and that we were going to get it done as a team, and I wasn't going to back down from anyone. And just guys like that who maybe thought they were better just motivated us, I think, more to turn that switch on and get after it.
Oh, love it. Joey?
I mean, obviously, there's so many examples of this. It's so funny that a Gus Macker tournament was used from after you were already out, out of school. I mean, my goodness, you could, getting into the basketball thing, just being, relentless at getting the ball and scoring down low. I can imagine. Um, just think back that how many times the fans were absolutely screaming because Dusty had very good footwork, right, and very good at posting up. Even as we would move the ball, just sealing somebody off and getting it to him, right, and the footwork and pump fakes and just getting the way to the basket and drawing contact and still getting it up there. I mean, my goodness, you still got state free throw records and all sorts of stuff. But it just hilarious how much you would get these, Central Illinois parents absolutely screaming for travel calls and just hollering at him that, of course, he would get probably fouled 3 times and they wouldn't call it. And then he would finally get a foul called on the last one. And the opposing fans would complain about it. And I was like, this is ridiculous. It's you get tapped out on the wing and there's a foul call. And then you get hammered down low and it's got to be 3 or 4 times before you get the call. But I'm not surprised that it carried over into a postgraduate Gus Macker tournament.
That's a great story. Up next, we've got Bo Gum Denial.
Isn't there? I did not play in that game. I'm smart enough to know not to play in that game. I don't know who played, who was Dusty's partner. I was in the hotel room. I think I was taking a nap, and someone runs up to the room, knocking on the door. Hey, they're playing pickup ball. You got PJ, Clint, and Dusty. I think I commented, well, I'm not getting in that. Like, there's no way I want to be a part of that because I couldn't. I was a decent athlete, but I couldn't hang in that group.
Right.
So I was smart enough to stay out of there. So I don't know who got their butt kicked by Clint and PJ, but it was not me.
That's great.
Hold on, hey Turner.
So this is a clip.
Man.
So in the very first episode, you had a great story about it. You said it was you, and Pete. Wait, no, you and Bo got
Yeah,
the
that's what I
brakes beat
thought.
off you by PJ and Clint Cuffle. And then
Yes.
afterwards, I got all these texts. And I heard there was a group chat going, and Bo was like, "This did not happen," and like you guys were all talking about. I mean, it's obviously in a funny way, but do you have anything on this?
Man, I'm trying to think if it wasn't Bo, I don't know who my teammate would have been. But I still stand
It
by
seems
the butt
logical.
whooping we took. They
You remember
kicked
you
our
saying that
butts.
a couple was thunder dunking on you, right?
Yeah, he was yeah, man, yeah. We didn't take a lot of butt whoopings, but that day, I could just realize like Clint. Yeah, Clint was so good. Clint was such a great player and was so effortless. And then
Mhm.
PJ's a bulldog and was a great basketball player too.
Yeah.
And yeah, they kicked our butts. I can't remember. Maybe it was like Nate Guernsey or somebody like that was my teammate, but
I mean, he
I
was a
swear
really
it was
solid
Bo and I.
basketball player too, so maybe it could
Yeah,
have
Nate
been
was a
Nate.
great basketball player,
We got to reach out
but
to him.
yeah,
Somebody
I
was
can't
on that
remember
team, right?
because I feel like
Somebody was.
PJ told the story too, and he said it was Bo as well. So
I agree. I agree.
yeah,
All
Yeah.
right, next one.
I mean, as much team success as we had in basketball, there were plenty of like individually, if you took us all off and put us in any sort of one-on-one situation or two-on-two, I'm not sure that any of us translate to be I don't know, maybe Jordan when he was could
yeah,
could have done it.
Mhm.
But I mean, for the most part, we all just worked really well together,
Yeah,
in the situations that we had. So,
that's cool.
yeah,
yeah, mine, I think that's one of the things that I've got the perspective of now is that or at least someone in my position, certainly thinks that their past was a lot more spectacular because of the company that I was around, right? Like it's easy to be a role player on a good team and think that you could be that anywhere
Right.
else. And I've got that perspective now that all of my all of my accolades and all of my memories are that much better just because I got lucky of where my parents, bought a house at.
Yeah,
I love
same.
it.
That's like I'll reflect back and people ask me, and I was like, my team was good, and I was a guy that especially basketball, and I needed my teammates to help me get open. Like I'm not one on one, with my mixtape. I'm just post up, pass me the ball, set me some screens. So you're right, Joe.
So
You nailed it.
so what else like and, I mean, not to hijack this one as well too, but like outside of playing 2-on-2 pickup basketball, what are some of those other things that you guys did in between games?
Yeah, man, I'm trying to think. Just yeah, we just hung out, messed around in the hotel, pool, a lot of meals out. But yeah, basketball. I'm sure we played some mini golf, but just a lot of competitors. Not as much. I don't think we played much cards. Like I played a ton of cards in college on the buses, because I didn't have a phone didn't exist.
Right.
So
Right.
but with the
And
Statesman, it was. I just vividly remember that basketball experience, and then just a lot of time messing around, watching baseball, talking, and hanging
yeah.
out, which I think kids maybe don't get that as much these days. Whether that's I think they're missing out, but that's the old man in me. And I think that's why, not that they don't have great friends, it's just different types of friendships these days.
Well said. All right. Next Bo Gum. He can flip a switch.
but he can flip a switch. So, an example of that, you're going to have to ask him to tell his side of the story. But ask him about Mike Fitch.
Okay.
We played basketball against Pittsfield. We beat Pittsfield in a sectional um, our junior year.
Uh-huh.
And one of the guys from Pittsfield made a comment after we beat him about, hey, wait till baseball season. Well, that was the same year we won basketball and baseball
Uh-huh.
state championships. So the next year around, we get matched up with Pittsfield, and I believe it was that game. Dusty basically told Mike that trophy, and where were you? That trophy looks really good in our trophy case. And so that triggers Fitch, who basically wants to fight Bensko in the hallway in the Jacksonville Dome. But Dusty's not one to back down, so Dusty continues talking trash. But I think one of the best parts of that, while Dusty's talking trash, we got a guy named Ryan Nelson, who was a big dude. He was like one of our power forward guys, one of our
Uh-huh.
toughest guys on the team. Dusty's talking trash to Mike, and then as he's doing it, he tells Ryan Nelson, Ryan, don't you move. Do not move. And then he continues talking. So Ryan's got Fitch held back, Dusty held back. Dusty refused to back down, but he knew he wanted nothing, no part of Mike Fitch. But he just continued talking trash to him. So they got a little feud going on, and a couple years later, Mike joined that next summer. Mike joins the Springfield Statesman. Walks right into our little room that we were hanging out in between games, and Dusty's got to say hi to him and introduce himself officially. I'm pretty sure Dusty's first words were, "Please don't kick my ass." That's just that was just Dusty. He was ornery. He stirred the pot a little bit. Always looked for
Yeah.
some extra reasons to flip the switch. So, but you'll
That's what
have
I
to ask
heard.
him.
That was the Mike Fitch story. Is that
Yeah.
going to stay in or is that going to get cut?
No, that'll stay. It's true.
Okay.
Yeah, I think but we beat them in the super sectionals in basketball, and then Mike or one of his teammates said, "Wait till baseball." And like Bo said, we won state in baseball. Then we're playing them in basketball, and we're beating them, and they're upset. And Mike said something, and I said, "Where were you at the baseball state tournament? We missed you." And then, you know, but I wasn't dumb. I wasn't going to actually fight him. What's the saying? You never start a fight, you're not going to win. There's not many fights I'm going to win. So, yeah. But the first thing I say to him, I think when he joined the Statesman is, "You're not going to kick my ass, are you?" And so,
There's there's no better example of Dusty's like trash talk than it was never like, you're a this, you're a that. It was always you don't win as much as us. And like all of his trash talk was some form or some iteration of you don't win as much or you're not as good, kind of like the scoreboard thing. But very much so. As long as there was no threat for a real confrontation, it would there, it just continue to talk as much as possible until the moment that an actual confrontation could go down. Then it was like, all right, it's time to go.
Yeah,
Love it.
it's true. That's what my big strong friends were for. So I knew who to stand behind when I was talking trash. I'm not going
So
to be at the front of it.
you really told Ryan Nelson not to move?
I think so. I'm sure I did. Nelly or
Yeah.
it was Nelly or somebody. So I
Yeah.
just wanted
Uh,
Mike Fish to think that I needed to be held back.
there's a there's a very similar story of playing. I don't remember who we were playing or what it was, but uh, we were leaving there all in Dusty's car, and he liked to roll the window down about that much, shout something out the window at him, and then roll it up and drive away as quick as he could.
It's a true
Just let
story.
him know, hey. Just let
Oh
him know,
man.
it's, hey. I just so you know that I know we're better than you, but I'm not sticking around.
It's true.
Oh man. This is great. All right, next one, Bo Gum, and more about Into the Mat. Here we go.
So I moved to Pleasant Plains after my freshman year. So
Right.
I moved into Plains. I knew all about Dusty. Played summer ball with Dusty. Um, but it was my sophomore year, and we had practice. We done the whole thing that every kid in Illinois does: goes practice for 2-3 hours. I go home and play video games like every other teenager. Dusty, I hear as I'm playing video games and probably eating this smack. Dusty lived 3 or 4 houses down from me. He's standing outside of his garage, crow hopping, and throwing into a mat.
Really?
But he's, I think I always tell the kids I coach now, it's like, I was a good athlete. I put a lot of time into it. The guys that seem to be better than me put
Mhm.
significant amount of time. And he just invested his
Yeah.
time in it. He worked his butt off, man. But, yeah. So he was down there either throwing into the mat or hitting into the mat about every other night, no matter
Wow.
what was going on. But
I love that.
that's
Hey,
when I knew this dude's a little different.
guys.
More on the mat stuff. I love that coming back up. Do you got anything more? Or do you feel like you've already touched on that? We've already.
Yeah. Like I said, it was just something I did, just a part of my routine, and
Yeah.
no matter how I did it, I was gonna get the work in. And like back to Bo talking about like moving in, I think Joe might attest to this. Like Bo coming to Pleasant Plains was just so big for us, and was kind of like
Mhm.
the missing puzzle piece. That
Yeah.
every time I'm with Billy and Jana, his mom and dad, I thank them. Like that's a big thing that they did. To take that risk for your son, for what you think might be a better spot for him in his career, and then it just benefited all of us throughout our high school career. And like without Bo Gum in baseball and basketball, like we
Hmm.
might be having this podcast, but we're not talking about state championships and how
Oh wow.
successful we are. And Bo was just, Bo was a great teammate. And I feel like we're saying this a lot about a lot of people, but it's so true. Just a great person. And not surprising that he took that education and coaching path.
Yeah.
And just like a lot of us, like Joe coaches his kids, I coach. And to me, it's because of the experiences that we got to have together. And I want my kids and other kids to get something close to that. It might not be what we got to have, but Bo definitely, like his family took a risk, and like it definitely benefited all of us. And without him, um, none of what we accomplished at Pleasant Plains, in my opinion, happens.
Oh man, that's beautiful. Giving the gratitude up to all the guys. Yeah, I mean, you guys had such a special group of athletes. I didn't realize that he moved to Plains specifically for the reason of athletics. Is that what you were saying?
No, that would be called recruiting. I'm not saying no, no. I'm teasing. Uh, I think that was definitely a part of it, don't you, Joe?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, listen. I don't think everyone would be a good fit, right? Like personality wise, he came right in. I mean, obviously, we became really good friends. He was best man in my wedding. I was best man in
yeah,
his. So certainly, my life would have turned out differently. But yeah, if you think about that element that Bo was an ultra athlete, the number one star, could score as much as he want, was, and then to come into a situation like ours where you were absolutely the star on a team and you come in and now you're into the shuffle. I think it takes a very understanding family and a
Yeah.
very flexible type of personality that truly is there, wanting to fit in and win. But yeah, I would say the same thing. It's crazy that you could how well the puzzle pieces fit in, and you could almost remove any one person and say, well, I remember three or four things that this person played an integral part in. Obviously, Dusty is at the top, right? Like you expect the most out of him, but it was never a I'm going to do it on my own. It was everyone else sort of had a role to play, and it fit in so very nicely.
Well said. All right, next one. And this is the story that everyone wants to come back to. This is the ball that never landed. You got something, Dusty? What's up? Okay. All right.
No, all
The
good,
ball
all
that
good.
never, okay, the ball that never landed. Here we go.
I'd like somebody to talk about the ball that has never landed at Lincoln Land during the
Please,
sectional game.
let's go. Talk about it.
Dusty hit. Well, I mean, I was on second base. I think I think it was Litchfield.
Hmm.
Uh, you'd have to. It's a long time ago. I'd have to have somebody else give me a lot of details. But the Dusty Bensko home run against in the sectional game, that is about the second tier of the left field foul pole at Lincoln Land, and still was rising. Arguably the farthest ball that I have ever seen hit.
Could you guess how far
But
it
he
went?
just hits.
What's your guess?
Oh, I don't know, man.
It's a
At
500
that
foot
level.
bomb.
That is probably what I would say 450.
Yeah.
And there's been, man, we got to see him hit some balls that were just ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
we'd be out playing, taking batting practice. He would drop them on the third base of the softball field back there. Like he would just hit some absolute moonshots. But that ball hit at Lincoln Land, people still talk about. You're gonna have to
I
find.
know.
I would suggest that you need to find some guys that have been to that game that were in the
I'm
stands
yeah.
and talk about it.
I've heard so many versions of this, and so many people texted me after the Dusty Bensko the first time. You were like, "This ball, the same story, but like slightly different." Some say it was over the lights, some say it was in the upper third, some say it was rising. This is a 500-foot home run. I'm gonna go right to Joe because you're gonna be too humble, Dusty, and I don't want to hear that humble shit right now. I want to hear Joey. Tell me, man, what's up? What do you got?
What's so funny is that the details are the ones that are getting everything besides how you felt in that moment. That's very consistent. Everyone is very consistent on how you felt in that moment. I had somebody reach out to me on Facebook and say they were from Morrisonville and be like, "No, no, that was a game against us. I was in left field and I saw it go over my head." And I'm like, "I don't know. Maybe it was Morrisonville. I thought it was Litchfield. I don't know." But so I just I can't stress it enough that like it's so absurd because it's not like this is the only home run we ever saw Dusty
Right?
hit. We've seen him
Yeah.
hit a thousand, right? We've seen him hit batting practice home runs off a pitching machine, off soft toss. Like we've seen moonshots, and the only way I can describe it is that the ball. Now, of course, I think this might have been a drop five red line back then. So I mean that part of it holds up.
It's cheating, yeah.
But it was the only way I can describe it is that if you've ever seen like a professional long driver hit a drive with a ball, how it explodes and just shoots up. And maybe it was just the perfect cinematic moment at night where it's like, once it gets past the lights, you can't really see where it was going.
Yeah.
Um, but for that one to stand out for everyone who have seen him hit home runs every other places, and Dusty, maybe for you it didn't feel or look any different. I don't know if you even watched it, but it certainly caught everyone else's attention. And I mean that's the one that I remember. And outside of just imagine someone hitting a golf ball with a driver from home plate would be the closest thing I could explain it to.
What you got, Dusty?
Yeah, I mean, I do remember that one. So like
Yeah.
maybe just because like I've heard people talk about it before, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's man, probably the farthest one I think that I can remember hitting.
Really
But
sticks out to
I
you
think I was
too.
just a sophomore. I think it was Morrisonville though. But I think it's also partly like a ball like this can't be talked about like that anymore because everything's on video. So it's almost
Yes,
like the fable
the
of the
lore of
home
it.
run that I hit is so like so that actually kind of is cool to me. Like where now there's like just data, so it went as far as it went, and I think just throughout the
Right.
years, hearing people talk about it has been cool. But I definitely remember that moment and that swing, and um, yeah, I think that's as far as I could hit it. It was yeah a good time, a
I
good
think you just
moment to do
nailed
it.
it, dude. I was thinking the exact same thing of this is before video. So I think a lot of the Dusty stories and the lore and all these things are even better because they're told. They're past. There's not like, oh, here's the video. We can watch it right now, you know? I recently read Bo Jackson. There's a book on Bo Jackson that
Yeah.
came out not that long ago. That's incredible. Have you read it?
I've just heard some of the stories about him.
So good. But one of the
Good
main
book.
things about that, yeah, one of the things that hits on the head on that is that the stories about Bo are so good because there's not a lot. I mean, there is video of him some, but a lot of the little fables about him doing these crazy things are just
Yeah.
stories that are passed down, similar to the Dusty Bensko story. So I kind of thought that was, I love how you nailed that there.
I'll take being named in
So
Bo Jackson in the same sentence any day.
Sure.
so if you like, if you can think back, are there any home runs that you can think of that you weren't just trying to hit it hard, that you were thinking in your mind like or did you ever do that? Like we're only thinking home run.
Yeah, I was
Good
actually
question.
reflecting just before I came on, and like every swing I took was trying to hit a home run, which
Okay,
is a
so
terrible
everyone.
approach up to a certain point. Like when I was growing up, when I was in high school, I was trying to hit the ball as far as I could every single swing, like two strike approach. Excuse me, like I really didn't think about it. And then like sometimes my dad, if I was ever struggling, would tell me to try to hit the ball through the fence, like knock the fence over. But still, like that means hit it as hard as you can. So yeah, like
Mhm.
it's just what I did. And like I said, off the mat, I was trying to hit the ball as hard as I could, and that was my approach at the plate too. Preferably pull side. If I hit it to right field, it was by mistake. Like I never worked on that till college. I never even thought about it.
Yeah.
I just played and tried to hit the ball as hard as I could, throw it as hard as I could, and win. And that was the end of the list.
Oh, I
Which is,
love that.
is which is so absurd because I think so many other kids did the same with zero results. Like the harder you tried to hit a home run, the less it would happen. And myself included, right? Like I had to take a completely different approach that anytime you wanted the result of hitting it, hard or hitting it far, it would just consume you, and then you would end up swinging. So for you to be able to stay disciplined and still, get the pitch and have a success rate that high when that was what you're trying to do, and maybe that's all the reps, maybe it's all the practice. Obviously, it's talent and focus too, but it's not normal because I know everybody else was also trying to hit home runs and it wasn't happening.
Well said. Okay. Next up, we got all things Dusty, Bo Gum again. Two more Bo Gums.
As a player, he always expected the best out of himself. In our area, I've never seen a guy hit the ball further. I've never seen a guy be as clutch as Dusty. Um, like the 18 free throws in a basketball state tournament when the games are on the line and we need him the most. He sets a record for most free throws in a row. State tournament when the game's on the line, he's hitting home runs. Having huge at bats. Like those are the things to me. Like he wasn't just a good player; he was a good player in clutch situations.
Yeah.
So to me, that's what I thought separated him from even some of the other great high school athletes around here.
Sure.
Um,
Well said.
and I think for me as Dusty's friend, Dusty was in my wedding. He's just also one of the he's got that competitive fire, that edge. We could tell a lot of stories about him arguing or fighting with other teams, but man, he's a nice dude, respectful dude. Um,
Hmm.
and that's one of the things that I appreciate more about him. All the success he's had, he's got
Hmm.
a he's got a pretty good ego for going through that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, so I appreciate that about him. I respect that a lot about him.
For sure.
Yes. So more stuff on your character, as well as your athletic accomplishments, which you've said, this means a lot to you.
Yeah, it really
Yep.
does. And like I am a high school teacher, so I tell my students a lot, you are who your friends are. So to me, like the
Yeah.
compliment to me just speaks volumes about who Bo was, and is, who Joe was and is, and just like that whole group of guys that we had at Pleasant Plains. Um, like it was just such a special time and a special group of friends, and just we were all similar people, and I think like Joe said, that's why it all meshed so well and went
Yeah.
so well for us athletically, and then just doing it with your best friends is so special.
Got anything, Joe?
No, yeah, more of the same. I mean, they're,
Yeah.
uh, if I had an example that could go the other way, I would share it, but I don't.
All right. Last one, Bo Gum on the Riverton game. Here we go.
It's just another part of his competitiveness, but it was a Riverton game, um, and we were down like 10. I don't know if you ever know much about the basketball state tournament. We won a triple overtime game against Riverton,
Mm-hmm.
and we were down almost 10 points. And Dusty randomly grabs me by the collar, pulls me in, gets in my face. Bo, we're effing winning this game. We're winning, and he made me believe it. But that was him.
Yeah.
As talented as he was, he had also a mental side of him too
Yeah.
that we believed we're going to win. So if you ever watch that game, we're down, everybody believes that there's some situations that happened there that Riverton probably could have closed down, but
Mm-hmm.
we believed we were going to win. Our best player, our leader, believed we were going to win. Um,
Yeah.
so I just remember that one.
So cool. Some great stuff there from Bo. You guys got anything? Move on.
You know, just yeah, he's right. We just believed in ourselves.
Yeah.
Like it's just, you know, like I said, it's what we were taught from a young
Yeah.
age. Like that's what we were going to do. So like I've told some people this recently as I've been reflecting. Like the shot in my driveway was never to win the title for the Bulls or win the NCAA tournament for Illinois. Like the shot in my driveway was to win a state title for Pleasant Plains. And like
Oh man,
that's what I wanted, and I think that's what we all wanted
that's
uh
beautiful.
more than anything. And then just in that moment, like it was just the belief in each other, and like that's what we were going to do. Like there was, I told you that, like at that time there was zero doubt for us. Like that's what we were meant to do. That's what we were
Yeah.
going to do, and it worked out. Like luck has always got to be on your side to me
Sure.
to win those games, to win that 2000 state tournament for Joe and those guys to win in '02. Like it takes some luck. Like you're going to get
Mm.
lucky, but it's the belief and the work beforehand. And like to me, like that was the dream, was to do it for Pleasant Plains for basketball, and then baseball the same way.
Yeah,
Man.
poise was never the problem. And I think that's for the rest of us. I think it's easier to stay poised when you know you've got the best player on your team. I think that's you would
Yeah.
mirror a lot of other people that like there was very rarely any sort of panic or we can't do this. And I don't think it was on the backs of anything that we thought we could do. It was just when you're when you've got your ace on the mound or you feel like you've got the best player on the court,
Yeah.
like it's easy to stay focused till the end.
Oh,
And man, the luck thing, we could go a mile long with that too. I mean, one shot here, one bad
sure.
hop there, one error here. I mean, if you want to look at that last inning of the state
Mm.
tournament, I mean, my goodness, you've got to have, Driscoll had a maybe not a routine double play, but pretty easy one, and
Yeah.
the third baseman throws it, spikes it, throws it into right field. Yeah, just a number of things could have gone, like Desi said, maybe we're still here doing this podcast, but it's not with all of the accolades. That Riverton game could have gone, either way for either team, probably would have won the championship. Obviously, um, when you think of we're talking about how hard everyone works, and then the payoff is there because the wins were there. But you could have literally had a ball bounce one way or the other and not had all of those championships and success. And does it get reflected on like we didn't work as hard or didn't work enough? So the luck portion of it can't be overstated. Like
Yeah.
I think if you want to just talk basketball, I think the best team that we had was the 2001 team that didn't. That they just so happened, we got, was it McComb that hit, a corner jumper to beat us by two, and had that not ball bounced out, I think we win in overtime, and I think we go to state and we win that one too. So yeah, so a tremendous amount of luck has gone
Sure.
into all the things that we reflect on.
I love that. There's something that that stood out to me multiple times. All these guys talked about how, dominant you were in like raising of your level when there was pressure, when it was difficult. What was going through your mind? Like, do you like, were you feeling pressure? Were you feeling nervous, or were you feeling confident in these situations? Like, was there a 16 for 6, or you went 16 for 16 in baseball? Wasn't there a free throw record too? It was like 18 for 18, or is that what you just said, Joe? Or someone has said that there's the free throw record in there too, right? Consecutive free throws.
Yeah,
No.
Dusty, I don't remember the exact number, but um, I don't know if it's the entire state tournament or if it was just the championship game, but yeah, something ridiculous. 17 for 17 in one game, I think it was, and the championship game, no
Yeah.
less.
Yeah. I guess my question would be, do you feel pressure in these moments? Did you?
Yeah, I mean, man, such a long time ago, probably, but like I feel like the preparation takes away that feeling of pressure. So, like I've
Mm,
shot,
love that.
you know, like my dad was a big free throw guy. Like when we went down to the gym, it was jump shots and free throws, and I was going to get to the line a lot, and
Hmm.
like I was just prepared, and once again, I go back to like just the belief, like just at that age, I just had just zero doubt. Like doubt really comes into my athletic career later, but at that time, like it was like I was there. I knew my teammates believed in me. I knew that we
Yeah.
were prepared, and so I'm sure I felt the pressure, but like to me, um, like that's why we prepare is to
Yeah.
to really try to eliminate that pressure, and I just felt prepared for those moments at that time.
Oh, I felt prepared for those moments. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big routine too. Like he held everybody accountable on that also. Like every game day we came in early to shoot free throws before class.
Hmm.
And if you weren't like it wasn't like, hey, it's okay if you miss. It was the night before Dusty was rounding everybody up saying, hey, tomorrow free throws, don't miss it, don't forget. And if anybody wasn't there, I mean, it was a big deal to not make free throws in the morning. I mean,
Yeah.
wearing Doc Martin boots and corduroy pants and a button-up shirt and still shooting free throws at 7:15 a.m. in our stuff that we were going to ride on the bus. Like, you know, maybe
Man.
it was cargo pants, corduroy pants, cargo
Yeah.
pants. We had them both.
Now, Joe, you spoke to me privately about, you said Dusty won like all your sprints and practices and shit too. Like, that's pretty
Yeah, I
powerful
don't.
when your best players, busting it like that.
Yeah, I distinctly remember that, and maybe some wouldn't expect that because he was a post player, but
Right.
for if you talk about setting an example, I mean, it was,
Mhm.
very clearly the hardest worker in all of the drills and everything. But even, when you're just running, whether it's sprints to get faster or sprints for conditioning, or even if it was sprints because we were in trouble or whatever, that is something that's very glaring. That if you don't put in the effort, you get left behind. And I mean, Dusty, we had a pretty athletic team, but I mean, he was absolutely also the fastest one, which is hard to believe. Like there were sprints. Bo was a state track or a state champion
Yeah.
track coming over. Like we had fast guys, and Dusty was still winning all the sprints.
Yeah. Super impressive. Super impressive. Well, Dusty, we've got two guys left here, and I'm loving the conversation. I think we've got plus 2 hours, so I hope you guys are in for it here. You want to go Jordan or PJ next?
Oh, let's go, PJ.
PJ it is. Oh man. I enjoy talking to PJ so much. I'm such a PJ fanboy. I swear, if there was a service, I wish PJ would call me in the morning and tell me that I'm going to have a good day. There's something just like reassuring and calming about his voice. All right, here we go. PJ, how many guys?
How many guys are going to be the MVP of the state tournament in basketball and baseball, win them
Right.
both, and not only like MVP, but like do things that people have never even heard of, like two
Yeah.
bombs. I think he got the save in that game as well.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
remember that game being a fan. we went to support our guys that were there,
Yeah.
and just being like, man, this guy is like just it's just never ending,
Yeah.
and then getting to see him do what he did in the state championship and basketball, and once again, like going up against Clint Cuffle in the semifinals, like we're all summer league teammates, and
Yeah.
like just watching those guys, and like just the lore is never ending with that guy.
That's well.
The lore is never ending. There's a line right there. Lore is never ending.
Yeah.
You got anything, or keep on rolling here?
Yeah,
Either
no,
you guys
no,
got
yeah.
anything, or
You
keep
can
on
keep
rolling?
rolling. Just means a lot hearing it from PJ,
Okay,
just
Yep.
a guy.
for sure,
Keep on rolling.
for sure. You got PJ, all kinds of them.
Man, there's all kinds of them. Him about starting a fight when we played Danville in the summer because a guy was taking too long to get in the box and he was pitching. And all of us that know him, like you can see Dusty like get like cussing under his breath at this guy, like get in the box, get in the box, get in the box, whatever. The guy's not getting in the box, and then like all of us that know him, like I said, know the killer is like he's gonna hit this guy. And at this point in time, like you got to be ready, like like the
Yep.
competitor is the competitor, and sure enough, the next pitch is like right between the shoulder blades, and the guy slams the bat, and like all of us, Bo, myself, other people are like walking towards the pitcher's mound because like this might happen. This might happen. So,
Here's another funny story that's been told multiple times about you guys were playing Lincoln Land or something, and I guess I don't remember the context of it, or the context, but essentially you just started plunking guys. You were just feeling frustrated, and you were like, you know what? I'm gonna announce my presence right here. So you got anything on that one, Danville?
Yeah, so I remember that day. I was having a rough day on the mound. So we were playing like a college, guys in college from maybe Indiana or somewhere at Lincoln Land. So I
Mm-hmm.
hit two guys to start the inning on accident. So their dugout starts just going at me for throwing at him, and I wasn't throwing at him. I think Greg comes out to the mound, PJ's out there, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to hit this next guy on purpose, just because they were accusing me of throwing at guys. So yeah, I think I drilled the third guy on purpose, and then from there, I don't know what happened. It wasn't my best day on the mound, not my proudest moment, but I was just upset that they accused me of throwing at guys. So I was like, well, I might as well do what they're accusing me of. So you just better be in that box and be
Okay.
ready.
Next one, PJ. He could turn it on.
well, I mean, I think that's a big part of it. Like he could turn it on and off with the killer mentality. Like,
Yep.
and you love playing with a guy like that. You hated playing against him, right?
What you got tools
You
like?
hated him. And there wasn't anything he could do on the field. Like it was other than run. Like he had all the rest of the things. Like could play any position that he wanted to. Obviously, was pretty special on the mound. Was quite a bit bigger than everybody else when we were younger.
Yeah.
But like the skill set and all the other things were there.
Yeah.
So I mean, and the guy could hit the most majestic home runs you've ever seen. I think that's probably the thing
Yeah.
that stuck with me the most. Like he was really good on the mound and could shut anybody down. But the thing that I always go back to with him is he hit some of the most majestic home runs in some of the most crucial times, and almost seemed to have a knack for the flair. And you see that, right? With the state championship, he hits 2 home runs. And I have countless stories of him hitting home runs in tournaments and playoff games and things like that, where you're just like, the guy's going to come through every single time. And that was him as a player. But there wasn't anything that he couldn't do.
Pretty cool to hear someone like PJ that has seen so much baseball, right? Just a baseball lifer talk about you like that and think so highly of you, and just how you can hear the excitement in his voice. It's got to be cool to hear from your peer like that, especially one that is so respected within the baseball community.
Yeah, yeah, it's really special just because just I respect PJ so much, his family so
Yeah.
much, and growing up playing with him, and just all those moments together to just kind of hear his side of it for the first time, and what he thought of me as a competitor, being such an elite
Hmm.
competitor himself is to me just such a high compliment. And I
Yeah.
just enjoyed that time playing with him. But yeah, to hear him talk about that stuff is so special because I mean we played a lot of summers together, had a lot of battles, and really
Mhm.
had some great experiences. So just another person that is just a good dude, and I really respect.
Love that. Next one is going to be PJ SJR Classic.
Yeah, I mean, we had another one where he at the State Journal Register Classic, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're playing against one another, and that was the time where I kind of like started to develop on the mound, and I was starting to throw quite a bit harder and things like that. And
Yeah.
he's smiling from ear to ear, walking in to face me, and like I know who he is, he knows who I am, right? And like the first pitch, he fouled off, and it was a heater. And like it was my best heater, man. I'm going right at this guy, and
Yeah.
he fouls it off, and he's a little late, and he kind of looks at me like, "You gonna do that again?" And I'm looking right at him like, "Here comes again, right? Like get ready, let's go, man." And like he knew, and I'm pretty sure he got on. Like I don't remember what ended up happening and everything
Uh-huh.
else, but like that's him. Like
Yeah.
for the persona that he is, like
Yeah.
man, he's bringing it with a killer mentality, and there was a
Yeah.
lot of trash talk with that.
Oh, that's
Love it. PJ is very quotable. I'll keep rolling unless you guys got anything. Anyone want to jump in? Keep rolling. All right,
I'm just gonna say something about like I
please.
remember facing PJ his senior year as a pitcher, and it was like a oh shit moment when he just became a dude on the mound. Like he was always
Right.
a great pitcher growing up, competitor, but like that moment his senior year when we faced him, like he was just next level, velocity,
Yeah.
nasty
Right.
stuff, and really separated himself on the mound. Like I always knew he was a great shortstop. I've told the story many times, like how great his hands are and just his ability at the plate, but in that moment facing him, like man, he was special, and that's when
Yeah.
I realized it. Like, wow, he's different.
Yeah. You hadn't seen that kind of velo from him previously.
No. Like I said, not taken away from what he was, always effective. But was
Yeah,
just
for
like
sure.
almost like a Greg Maddux style pitcher, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, you give Greg Maddux style pitcher like 92, 93, like it was tough
Yeah.
to face, and he really
In
took
high
his pitching
school.
to the next level.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah, it
that.
was his senior year, and then he
Yeah.
carried it with him through at Southern as well.
He was absolutely filthy as a senior. I remember watching him too and being like, how can
Yeah,
anybody hit this? It was just like the the low 90s fastball, the exploding slider, the nasty change. It was like, geez, how do you around here? I was about as tough as it gets. Next one,
yeah,
PJ.
I agree.
So much.
so you got some things to say about Dusty?
It's
Oh wait,
so much. I
I
mean,
already played that
obviously,
one. Sorry. Uh,
No,
sorry.
all good.
Uh, here we go. PJ.
man, I don't know who Dusty's teammate would have been.
Two on
Because
two game.
that's just a normal thing. But I just, the other thing about Dusty that you gotta know, especially if you know him, is he's this quiet guy, right? Like
Yeah.
this, like kind of aw shucks, like all American boy persona. But in the arena, like he's a different cat.
I
Like
heard that. Yeah.
100%. Like he's gonna talk the most trash of anybody. And our biggest thing that we used to laugh with him is like he's gonna run his mouth forever, and it's great. Like it gets him going. Like it's
Yeah.
the high level athlete flips a switch and becomes a
Yeah.
killer in the arena. But the
Right.
funny part about it was always like, hey Dusty, like you want to go fight? And he'd be like, nope, not doing that, not doing that. So there was always that line that he would never cross. Uh, but like the trash talk and just the
Uh-huh.
persona on the field is so much different than the one off the
Yeah.
field, and I love that about him.
Another great one. And just it's cool hearing these guys kind of echo some of the same stuff. And you guys just talked about, when it came down to the line of like, do you want to fight? No. I just want to talk some trash and beat you on the field. All
Yeah,
right,
my
last one,
fight was
PJ.
on the field and or on the court.
My fight was on the field. Love it. So far, PJ.
I've got two that just come off the top of my head. Is
Go.
he can't run, right? Like we talk
Right.
about that. He's just not fast. He's a good athlete, but he's not fast. He hit one so far in St. Louis one time on a field with no fence. that he got all the way around the bases before the ball got back to the infield. Now, if you wrap your head around that, like we were like 14 years old, and like he hit it so far, I'm like, why is this guy even going after it? Like, what? Seriously, what's he doing? And when he hit it, like everyone was like laughing because it was dead center. It was at Ozzie Smith Sports Complex, and like, I mean, he literally was around the bases, and the ball's like, just now getting back to the infield. Like, I felt like the guy went about 3 counties to go get it. But and then the other one, and you have to ask him about this because I don't remember that you recalled it, but and I don't know the situation. Hopefully he does, but we're like dead to rights in the Cobble World Series as 14-year-olds, and we're playing a team from New York, and it's either tie game. I think it would have had to have been a tie game, or we're losing. Right, and the flair for the dramatic, the who Dusty is, and always shows up in the big moments. Is he hits a home run that like is one of those like Jose Bautista like no doubters, right? Like you knew it off the bat, and like I said, the killer's there. So like he hits this home run, and I think it is to tie the game and like extra innings, and it keeps us alive and like keeps us in the tournament and whatever else. But like. He hits it. It's literally might as well be 400 feet to left center field, and he probably bat flips like 100 feet in the air. And like those, I just remember those two from being like in awe of that because at that time, shoot, I couldn't do that. I probably couldn't hit balls that far if I hit it twice. And here's this guy who obviously is not only doing it, and he's doing it in the biggest moments. And those are two that, like I said, outside of the state championship that, just are burned in my memory of just almost being laughable.
And that concludes our PJ clips here. I love hearing from that guy. Either of you guys got anything before we move on to Jordan Roth?
I remember that game he's talking about in the Cobb World Series.
Yeah.
And like we were in that situation because of my poor pitching beforehand. So the moment became the moment was because I got lit up early. But yeah, I like to think I was ahead of my time with my bat flipping because that's normal
Sounds
now.
like it.
25 years ago, it wasn't normal.
No, pretty
So
taboo.
I don't remember any sort of bat flip as a celebration, but I do remember if there was another team that was getting a little too mouthy and you hit a home run, it would be the slowest trot around the bases. I mean, the hands would be up and it would be the slowest trot all the way around. You'd like turn and cough a couple of times. You definitely make sure that they understood that you were taking your time around those bases. The like there's one bat flip it wasn't because you hit a home run. It was because I feared for my life. Also a game at Lincoln Land. Um, I don't know again. I don't remember which team it was. Maybe this is the mix up of Litchfield and Morrison. But so in that year, Dusty hit third, Jordan hit fourth, and I hit fifth. So if Dusty was at the plate, if you've been at Lincoln Land there's always like a little area for an on deck circle, and I was in the hole. So I was just kind of had my standing outside of the dugout next to Jordan. And I remember you got beamed with the ball. And I think it was one that I don't know if it was the game that you'd also hit a home run or something, but you told us before you went up there that, and I'm paraphrasing here, that this MFer better not hit me. Meaning that you better get something to hit. He better not put you on something. And maybe it was the first pitch, maybe it wasn't. Hits you. Both hands on the bat, turn, and fires this bat as hard as you can over your shoulder, comes whipping, end over end towards Jordan and I. We both take cover, and it, ricochets off the fence behind us. So that's what I think of when I think of your bat flip, not from hitting a home run.
And
Yeah, thanks.
Coach Greer was known for being into that kind of stuff, like you guys showing emotion and being like that kind of stuff, right? He wasn't against that stuff. Am I right?
No. I think he loved it. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember like coming into the game in the sixth inning, and he'd tell me he'd be like, "Throw it at the top of the backstop." I'd be like, "Excuse me?" He's like, "Throw it to the top of the backstop." And like, if Coach Greer said something, you did it. So like, I'd throw
Yeah.
my next pitch to the top of the backstop, and like, he loved that moment, and he loved those type of things. I think that's where, at least me personally, that's where I got a lot of it from was like from him. Like he was such a competitor. He wanted to win. he pushed you, and then I kind of just built off that, and that's probably where I got a lot of that competitiveness, trash
Hmm.
talk. He wasn't a trash talker to others, but just like he was just always trying to be pissed off and because of someone
Motivated.
else. And I just
Yeah.
really bought
Yeah,
into that, and I think it helped us. Good.
yeah, he wanted you to play with emotion, and so kind of let you get away with some things that,
Others wouldn't.
when I got to some other teams, that sort of stuff didn't fly. But it was the only way that that we knew how to go about it. So, I mean, I'll certainly. It didn't take long to fix the problems or whatever. But yeah, he was absolutely for any anything that got everybody riled up, that would make you play harder, that would keep you more focused.
Love it.
Yep.
Moving on. We're going on to our Jordan Roth, and then that will conclude our clips, and we'll get into our baseball
Okay.
Q&A. So, you guys ready? Does anyone need a break? All
I'm
right,
good.
powering
Go
through.
right through.
Jordan Roth lived across the street.
You said you heard sort of like he was legitimately like a child prodigy in baseball, right? Like
Right.
we,
Yeah.
I started playing. So just to give you the background, I lived basically across the backyard from him when I moved in kindergarten. I think I moved to Plains, and
Uh-huh.
he was the house across the backyard. He was always outside, so we became quick friends. We're out playing sports. Like, I mean, it started with I would tell you like every night basically, and then with probably myself in tears going back to the house because we were playing. He threw lasers back in the day, so I ended up
Yeah.
getting hit with one and quit and run back inside. I mean, just even back then, he carries. We went to like it wasn't Little League World Series. I forget what the league is we played in, but we went up to Minnesota and played in this national tournament thing. He's just
Yep.
unbelievable. Like balls. He was also twice as big as everybody too, but the balls
Right.
you'd see him hit as like an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, like I mean, no way this guy didn't make it, right? That was what you're always
Yeah.
thinking. So
Sure.
so
Tell me.
All right, that's the first clip. Next one's going to be Jordan Roth, one play.
my God. So if there's one play I remember from all of, I mean, obviously we had crazy success in high school. One play I'll remember from high school. Was I think we were in sectional final against Morrisonville, playing
At
at
Lincoln
Lincoln
Land?
Land. Oh
Everyone
my
knows
God.
the story. Let's go, man.
Dude.
Tell me your version.
So I obviously hit behind him in the lineup, right? So I'm on deck watching. Great seat
Yeah.
to be in, right? I got to see so many
Seriously.
massive bombs throughout his career, right? So I
Yeah.
forget who was pitching, but he hit one that it cleared. There's a light pole in left center. It cleared
Yeah.
that light pole, and I swear it was going up when it left the stadium.
Everyone says that.
Dude, if they had a stat cast on it nowadays, see, I would love to know the distance that ball traveled. It was, I mean, it had to be
500-foot bomb.
I was gonna say it had to be over 500 foot. I mean, that ball was the farthest ball I ever seen hit.
Oh, man.
I mean, just insane to see. And that ended up being a close game. I think that might have been the difference in the
Yeah.
game. But yeah, I mean, everybody remembers that moment under the lights at Lincoln Land, right? Big field, and I mean, he just freaking mashed that ball. Like I said,
Did everyone Did everyone go quiet when the ball was hit, or like
Oh,
was
yeah.
one of those moments?
I mean, I certainly didn't. I don't remember hearing anything. It was just kind of like jaw
What?
dropping, just watching. I mean, it was insane. It was insane
Yeah.
how far that ball traveled. So obviously, you already heard the story, right? Everybody remembers that.
Yeah.
So
Everybody knows it, and I love how I think Bo said it was like got to be 450, and then Jordan said 500, and like I'm sure the next guy's like
Yeah.
that's a 600-foot home run, like
I know.
that's the good part about it. I love it.
I know. That's what we
It's
talked
funny
about
that
earlier.
Jordan.
Just go ahead.
It's funny that he brought up that it was a close game, because like in the moment I don't even remember being excited that it was a home run. I do remember just being shocked at how far it was. Like the fact that it was a home run and we were in a tight game was completely lost on me. It was just
Yeah.
you sort of like, I don't want an out of body experience, but like I can still picture myself back there, and remember the feeling.
Hmm. Love that. I also got
The
one of the guys that messaged me about this was my HVAC guy, and he's you guys know him, former teammate. What's the name I'm going to say? Gibbs?
Gibbs, listen.
Gibbs Glisson?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So he does incredible work. He's done my parents. He's going to do ours, but he
Yeah.
texted me and was like, oh, tell me about this exact same one. I've had a handful of guys tell me about this exact same one. Do you have anything more to add to this, Dusty, or do you feel like we've kind of covered it?
No, I like Jordan's distance
Yeah,
memory better than
500?
Bo's. Yeah, I like that one better.
let's give the old boy 500 plus on this one. All right, Jordan Roth, one word. Here we go.
So like if you gave me like one word to describe him, it's like competitor, right? Like that's just what he is.
Yeah.
And so if you ask him what do you remember most about high school, I was going to tell you that he'd probably tell you a basketball loss in super sectional to Macomb his senior year, and probably all the at bats he didn't get a hit in high school. So that's just who he
Right.
is. But obviously
I
he
know.
carried us to the state title in that year. So
Yeah.
very very humble
Yeah.
dude, great guy, right? So.
Great guy. All right, next one. Jordan Roth, state tourney.
Tell me about the energy, the feel of those state tournament homers.
God, I mean, so I'm sure you've probably been told this before. So we had, even though we didn't really play them, we had a kind of little rivalry going with Two Topless, right? And
Yeah.
all their guys are sitting in the stands behind cheering for Addison Driscoll. And so like when he hit, I mean, you could go back and watch the tapes. When he hit him, like our entire dugout is like sprinting at the T-Town guys, like yelling at them. You can see Dusty's like taking his slow trot around, looking at them. I mean, it's just he almost, like I said, child prodigy. He almost had a like aura about him, right? Like
Yeah.
he's so much better than everybody on the field that he was like his own persona, own had his own bubble
Yeah.
out there. So
True.
I mean to come through in a moment twice in a moment like that. I mean, I hit like shit the entire state tournament, and I mean, like I said, he carried us to a title. So
Yeah.
Dusty, is it cool hearing your peers speak about you like this, or is it, or do you feel embarrassed, humbled? What kind of stuff are you feeling right now? I mean, these guys kind of gushing about you.
Yeah, all of those. Like, it's cool. It's cool to hear. Um,
Yeah,
like, I appreciate all the love, but a little embarrassed too. Like, just because, like we talked about before, like, it to me, it's the team, and
yeah,
like I said, about any of the guys on our team, you take off anybody, like our story isn't the same story. So, like, I appreciate all the kind words, but it's just such mutual feelings for like PJ, for Eric, for Bo, for Joe, for Jordan, and just all those guys that I played with through the years.
yeah.
The respect is mutual, and it's great to hear. And I did believe in myself, but I never thought like me. It was always like, and I know it's so cliche, but it was always very team. And
I
that's what I
believe
was
you.
there for. And the one thing I wanted was to win. And that
Yeah,
required all of us.
love that.
And that's it's wild to hear and truly believe it because I got to witness it. But there's are there any moments? I mean, is it truly the moment when the game is over or the buzzer hits that feels the best for you? Like there's got to be something about those moments um that feel like you delivered in the big moment, or was it just so much like robotic that like the job's not finished until it's finished? Or in those moments, did you actually feel the enjoyment of, hey, I did it?
Well
Oh
said.
man, what a question, Joe. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
probably not till it was over. I'm sure in the moment I was happy, but I'm like, all right, there we go. That's one step closer to what we want, and one step closer to um, winning, which was the goal. But like I'm sure I enjoyed it. I love competition. I love to compete, and um, so that was a piece of it. But man, yeah, the joy to me, it might sound crazy to say, but it wasn't probably until it was over, and
Mm,
how can we get the next one? And if we did happen to lose, it's what can we do different to win the next time. So like, and what's funny is what like Jordan said it. What sits with me more is actually like the basketball year that we lost, even though I'm a 42-year-old adult. Like that one still sits with me a little bit more than the great times. And I don't know
yeah,
why. Some
interesting.
can you can judge all you want, but it just does. Or like those other failures, like later in my career, those are the ones that are much harder to get past and forget about than some of the memories that are so great. Like I love the great ones too, but the ones that sit with me more are just those tougher ones. But I feel like that's what you learn
Yeah,
more from too.
well said. That totally sounds like something Michael Jordan would have said in The Last Dance or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I love that. All right, we got a couple more Jordan Roth. Let's go T-Town story. Here we go.
well, so 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 Teutopolis, I told you we were kind of talking about that. We had a little rivalry. So we played them in the state title game, right, of basketball. They
Yeah.
had a guy named Johnny King, which we ended up talking to afterwards, and everybody's cool with, right?
Hmm.
And Johnny King was had a mouth on him, right? So like, just
Okay.
I remember that whole title game, and we led for a good portion of it, but Johnny King didn't stop talking. I mean, Dusty had him so riled up. I think he committed a couple fouls that he probably wouldn't have normally, but yeah, just getting in his ear. He's a little bit of a head case, right, in high school, and Dusty would just poke the bear, right? Just keep poking at it, and he honestly, Johnny was their leading scorer that game, and he got him off
Yeah.
the floor. So I mean, it was
Wow.
it was it was important for us to win the game. He I mean, whatever he had to do to win, right? That's what he's
Yeah.
doing. So
Oh, I love that.
the
Now, do you have?
semifinal against Riverton was fun too, where he's 17 for 17 from the free throw line, right?
There it
But
is.
Oh,
they
yeah.
had I know they're kind of local. We don't get too deep into it. But they had a point guard that also liked talking a lot, and Dusty gave it back to him about tenfold by the end of that game. So
I love it.
Okay. And then I got the last one, and I wanted to ask this to a basketball player. Unless do you have anything you want to comment on that one, Dusty?
I'm going to leave that one alone for now.
Okay. Let's go, Jordan Roth. This is I wanted to ask a basketball player. Obviously, he was a star basketball player. Went on to play at Quincy as well. So here we go.
Think that he could have walked on at U of I and to sat on the bench at least.
yes, yeah, I really do.
Yeah. Yeah, I
it
do
would have
too.
been, and it would have been a situation where like, yeah, we'll take you to the preferred walk on type deal, and he would have worked his way
Yeah.
into playing time. Like I said, he's just that competitive. Like he wouldn't let himself get beat, right? So he would have worked
Yeah.
himself into playing. So
Now,
So I got to ask, was that ever on your radar? Was that ever a thought like maybe I could just walk on here and you know at the U of I?
Yeah, I think I probably thought about it. At the time I probably didn't I probably wasn't good enough. I think I considered it or talked about it a little bit when my baseball career started to struggle a little bit, and
Hmm.
just the mental grind of it. Spent some
Yeah.
time at U of I struggling, so I considered it. I think maybe, like Jordan said, make the team. I don't know if I was good enough to play. There's just not, when you look around at a college game, there's not a lot of guys with my game at my size out there. But
Hmm.
like the competitor in me, like would have just loved to have been a part of a practice with those guys,
Yeah,
let alone playing. So I love that Jordan thinks I was good enough. But to me, no. So baseball was the right move.
for sure. Well, that concludes our clips, my friend, and we're on to the baseball Q&A. Unless you got anything you want to drop on us before we go. Does anyone need to use the restroom or anything like that? Keep rolling.
I'm good
All
for now.
right. Head nods. Okay, we've got our 50 questions here about. I've already asked you a few, just kind of they just kind of came up, but you've already said that you have been listening to other guests and whatnot. And I just kind of would love to know who've been some of your favorites.
Sure. I just listened to Greg Taylor, which was great. I appreciate listening to what he went through, his experiences, and then kind of where his career went.
Yeah,
PJ, of course, and then the one that I actually just got around to listening to that I loved, and I told the story like 15 times is Ryan O'Malley. Um,
oh
like
yeah,
that, just his story is like I
all time.
lived it, but I didn't realize all the little details that you guys brought out. Um,
Yeah,
I actually didn't know he was from Athens. I never knew
yeah,
that. I just always knew him as an SHG guy. So
right.
that was cool. But just his story of making it to the major leagues was just incredible. I've told like 15 people
Right.
at work the last week his story, and listen to this, listen to what happened, listen to the just all those things that went right. Obviously talented and good enough to do it, but just things fell into place for him, and it was just such a cool story to hear, and that
Yeah,
one
it's
was
it's so
probably my
beautiful all the
favorite that I
dominoes
listened
that
to.
had to fall for that to happen, right? Yeah, well
Yeah.
said.
Yep.
Um, so everyone keeps mentioning this famous Bensko work ethic. Where was that instilled? Is that mom? Is that dad? Where does that come from?
Sure. Yeah. To me, it's mom and dad both. So they both instilled that in me. Like if you're going to do something, let's do it. And then so my mom was a teacher, so for her it was in the classroom and to be on top of your academics. And then my dad is
Yeah.
the one that really push me at a young age to practice. Like he knew one thing, like if you wanted to be good, practice was going to help. And I think he probably saw that early that it paid off. And like I said, he just really pushed me, took me to shoot, took me to hit, and I appreciate it now. Like as a adult and a father, like there's sometimes where like the last thing I want to do is go take my kid outside and hit or rebound. And like to him, it was never a no. He was always going to do it. He was always willing to do it,
Hmm.
and it was something that he really cared about, even after his work. Like it was the first thing on his list, and I really appreciate that to this day that he was willing to do that, and the
Yeah.
just the work ethic that he instilled in me, and um, helping me get better and try to reach my goals as an athlete.
Oh, what a great answer, man. And some of these I've already asked you in the first one, but we're gonna re-ask them again. And I just want to say that by far, so Dusty Bensko, the first one was split into two parts, right? And it's been the great mystery to me that the first part is by far the most listened to. It's not even close. And it's like people forgot about the second part. It's like half the listens, and I'll never understand why. And so that's why I'm going to be re-asking something. I think people probably didn't even know we had a part two. They just think after one was over, that was it. But we got a part two.
Yeah.
We got part three right now. So um, a little bit of a deeper question before we get into our easier ones. But what lessons do you feel like baseball has taught you, along the way that you can apply to life today? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's the failure. Like
Yeah.
there's no game that you fail more, and just handling that. Like there were many times in my career that I handled it very poorly, and just the mental grind of it, beating myself up. What could I have done differently? But like I said, coming on here has just like listening to other guys talking about it myself has really helped me. But to me, baseball and life like are so similar. Life is full of those uh, failures, and that's where you
Yeah.
learn the most. You don't learn the most from the home run or getting the job you want. It's all those struggles, and I just think
Dang.
baseball and sports in general really mimics life, and I think that's why it's so valuable. Why I'm always going to encourage my kids to play sports, my high school students to play sports, and it's just all those learning opportunities to me really help me just handle life. And like I'm far from perfect, figuring it out every day, but those challenges and adversities in the game of baseball continue to help me to this day, and I try to pass along that knowledge, even though at the time I probably could have handled it in some different ways.
Incredible answer, man. That was, man, you're killing it, my friend. So I asked you this was the first question I asked you last time, first episode, and I opened the the actual episode with it. See if you got any more elaboration, but best baseball movie, and then the worst.
Oh, and the worst, man! I can't even remember what I said the last time. I should have cheated and listened. Uh, it's tough. I'm gonna go, man, Field of Dreams,
That's what you
just
said.
because uh, I think I told the story. I went there. We played in a 3-on-3 tournament. We got second place. Threw our
Hmm.
trophies in the trash. Went to Field of Dreams. You get one at bat, and I think I hit a weak fly out to shortstop. So,
Yeah.
uh, but it was fun. Worst baseball movie, man. No comment. I'm not sure.
No comment.
I've no comment. I'm gonna pass.
Okay. Okay.
Is that
Joe, tell me
allowed?
what's
Such a dusty. That's such a dusty move.
Joe, tell me what's
He's
the worst.
afraid. He's afraid to upset anybody.
Tell me the worst, Joe. You know what the worst is.
No, I will not stand for Fever Pitch being the worst.
What about Summer Catch? Fever Pitch. Which one's
Oh,
worse?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Summer
Summer
Catch is
catch.
what I
Yeah.
meant. Yes, I will not stand for Summer Catch being the worst. It's highly entertaining.
Okay.
Good
Best
date night.
baseball video game. Video
Hold on,
game.
what's
Oh
Fever
man,
Pitch? Where did I pull that from?
That
Is that
is
even a
it's a
movie?
that's
movie. It
it's
is.
the it's
Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon with Drew
Yeah.
Barrymore,
Yeah.
Red
Is it
Sox,
baseball related?
kinda.
Yeah.
All right.
Just they
Yeah.
Okay.
sit in the
Well.
stands. I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh.
Well, that sounds worse already than Summer Catch.
Yeah.
All right. Best baseball
I'm
video
trying to
game you
think.
grew up playing, or a couple of them.
RBI baseball. So I was a Nintendo kid. Like
Yeah.
if Tim Raines, if I didn't hit a home run with Tim Raines for the AL All Stars or NL, I can't remember which he was on. I'd reset the game. Uh,
Really?
and then I liked,
Rage quit.
yeah, I would just reset so automatically. And then, man, I feel like I remember playing like King Griffey Jr. baseball on the Super Nintendo.
Oh
Uh,
man, that game is all
right? Is
time.
that right?
Love that
Yeah.
game.
So we love
It's
that. I
very
remember playing
instant.
that at Jordan's house for some reason. Like
Hmm.
that's in my memory bank for some reason.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
those are my
we
two
like
favorite.
so where Dusty lived, it was like backyard. Jordan lived, and then there was one house that separated me and Jordan as well. So we were all kind of in
All
like
of
a
you
straight
guys right
line,
there.
and yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't know why it was like like Jordan's house just seemed to his basement seemed to be
The
the
place.
the collecting place. So yeah, lots of video games played down there.
Love it.
Yep.
Bat of choice, both metal and wood, and a little bit of why.
Yeah. Joe talked about it earlier. Easton Red Line drop 5,
Man,
3429. It was like cheating. Like, you
does sound like
fall off your handles going 380. Uh, so that was my bet. Like I never found a bat I liked more than that.
yeah.
But I was always an Easton guy. So like my daughters play softball and they're
Hmm.
Easton softball bats. So I feel like I'm a
Oh,
loyalist to Easton. And then
loyal to
wood
East.
bat, I did the Louisville Slugger T141
Yep.
unfinished. So
Oh,
that was my
natural.
bet.
Oh, I
Natural.
love the natural
So
too. Yeah. And for
So Dusty, when we like all the way back when we played at Schlitt, did you ever have you had like the like old green Easton, right?
yeah, yeah.
And then I
I had the
I remember somebody on the team had that white TPX that was like ceramic.
yeah. I also
You never
used
did
the
that, like
I can't remember. I think Jess had that one. I used the Air Attack for a while. Was that TPX? Air
yep, that
Attack or
was
Air
yeah.
Louisville
Attack
Slugger.
I
2
was a big Air Attack
or
fan.
Louisville Slugger. Yeah. I used that too. But I was always, yeah, Easton most of the time. I miss those
And then
bats.
when it went to, were you still in high school when it went to the connection?
Yeah, yep. So and then that's what I used through college. At Illinois, we had Easton was our bat, and we always had the connection.
Right.
The
I
Okay.
hated
neon
those.
green one was my favorite, like that hideous neon green. I don't know if you guys
Yep.
remember it, but that
I
was the one.
remember.
That was my favorite.
What's the glove of choice? If you have multiple, like web, color, shape, all those things, what you got?
Sure, yeah. So I was man, Rawlings 11 and 3/4,
For
uh
for pitching or third or short or what?
for third and feel and short and like short in high school. And I think it
Yeah.
was just the iWeb.
Hmm.
So, but these days so like my life is softball now. So I
Yeah.
actually went out to I have some in-laws in San Diego, and there's a baseball glove shop called Charlie Rose Baseball. It's
Cool.
like you guys would love this place. It's like all baseball stuff, softball stuff. So I bought a new Rawlings H Web 12-inch because softball's bigger. So that's
Yeah.
my glove now. Still have a
What
glove.
about first base? What'd you use?
Wilson.
Wilson?
I used the Wilson A2000 first baseman. Black.
Black.
Yep.
Okay. What about batting gloves? What was your favorite? Did you use them?
Uh yeah, I did. I always used like Nike. So just like the whatever the Nike batting glove was. I used the Louisville Slugger like all white batting gloves a few times. Like
Mhm.
today I wish I still played so I could have an excuse to buy some Bruce bolts. 'Cause I'd be
Oh,
all
those are
about
cool,
those
aren't
Bruce
they?
bolts.
I
They're
know,
so
those are so
cool.
cool. They are
My
cool.
I got I can always sucker my mom and dad into buying my girls sports equipment, so they got my girls some Bruce bolts, and they think they are. I mean, the batting gloves make you better.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Grip preference wise, did you do anything? Did you motor stick, tar, dirt? Did you use tape, rosin? Which would you use?
I use tar and rosin
Hmm.
for wood, and then I use the stick for um, aluminum. So, but I
I
always needed the grip. I used to like in high school, I would just spit on my hands. I had to have my batting gloves extra tight, so after every pitch, I would tighten them. But high school
mhm.
spit, and then college the stick, and then pine tar for my
Now, would you
short
ever take off
stint
the
with
wrap
wood
that
bats.
metal bats came with? Would you take the wrap off
I
ever?
did. Yeah, so what I would do is so the grip, you know how it goes, however many 12 inches up, I would cut the
Yeah,
grip and lower it down to where the very top of my hand was.
just above your
And it
hands.
was just yeah, so
Interesting.
it just made me like feel like I was trimming weight off the bat. You know what I mean? Like a dumb
Ooh,
mental advantage. I mean, I'm sure it didn't, but to me it did. And then a few times I taped it, but on wood I
yeah.
put nothing. But on the metal I would just take the handle off, cut it down to the smallest amount possible.
I love little details like
Weird.
that. That's like a unique thing
Yeah.
that you did. I don't know anyone else that's ever done that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay. Ways to break in a glove. Anything unique there, or what are your thoughts?
No, no. For me, I would just play catch with it, and then I would old school like shoelaces. For the first baseman, I would put a couple of balls in there, just tie it as tight as I could, put something heavy on it, and
Hmm.
then first base, you're catching the ball so much, just break it in that way. Never, I was never like I never did shaving cream or oven or anything like that. It was more shoestrings tight as I could, couple balls in there, and then just play catch with it as much as I can.
What about conditioning it? Anything that you use that you liked? I,
No, I never had anything that I did. There's actually, I'm about to order some for my daughter's glove. There's man, I saw it on Instagram, 2025. It's like ball player glove or something good. If
Mhm.
you guys have anything you use, I'm all ears. So her glove needs it, and my glove does too.
The Nakona glove conditioner is kind of considered the gold standard these days. So
Okay,
Nakona and
I'll check that
Rawlings
out.
does
Yeah, I
something
need
called
some.
Rawling does something called glove butter too. Glove oleum, that's really good too. So those two things are kind of like I think the things these days. What about
Yeah.
spikes? Did you prefer any? Metal, molded, brand?
I preferred molded. I wore man, my favorite one I ever wore was like the old school Nike. I don't know if I'm going to say it right. Hirachi, like
Yep.
the high top
Oh
basketball
yeah.
shoe. I love
Hmm.
that cleat. And then so it was like summer of 2003. I was playing in Alaska, and some
Hmm.
team in the College World Series had white cleats, and it was before you could buy white cleats. So
Yeah.
me and my buddy in Alaska, we spray painted our cleats white, and then I like painted on a red Nike swoosh. Everyone in the
Oh,
league thought I was so awesome. I thought I was the coolest 190 hitter you've ever seen. So we spray painted these cleats red. I had red paint. Like I'm not artsy either, so it was. But yeah, everyone was like, "Where'd you get those cleats?" I was like, "My garage." But
Nice.
I look good
It's
hitting
my agent.
190. Yeah, yeah. My agent hooked me up. Yeah, I was like a Renaissance man for white cleats.
that's awesome, man. Would you walk up music? What'd you have? What'd you choose?
Oh man, see, like I was talking to my buddy I work with, Murph, about this because he was like, his son, walk-up music is all the rage. But like when I was in Illinois, I really don't think I even got to choose.
Yeah.
Maybe I think my senior year I did a Bruce Springsteen song, and then I think my other one was Still Dre instrumental. I think.
There we go. I like that.
That still goes
That
hard
it
today.
does go hard.
I know.
Yeah, can't beat that. Thoughts on developing arm strength? You already talked about throwing it as hard as you could into your mat. Did you ever do any long toss or anything like that? Thoughts?
Yeah, yeah. I was a big long toss guy. And then, like I said, like when I was young, 12, 13, 14, it was just throw that mat or throw the ball into the mat as hard as I could. And then, like Jordan Roth and I were catch partners, and we'd long toss quite a bit. It was part of
Yeah.
what Coach Greer had us do, so that was definitely it too. So I know there's a lot
How
of new age
long?
ways, but I was old school.
What's the? How long would you lengthen that thing out?
Yeah, a couple 100 feet probably, just as far as we could on the park. So,
Yeah. Our
and
our high school park wasn't that
small.
deep.
Yeah,
So I mean, if they wanted to air it out, they'd have had to go pole to pole sideways.
Okay.
Because
yeah.
just going line to center wouldn't have been that wild.
What were the dimensions at Plains High School? You remember?
I mean, they couldn't have been accurate because they said 330 everywhere. Maybe
Yeah.
how
Uh,
can a field
it
be the
was definitely
same dimensions all around?
I mean, it was definitely short in center, having played out there. I knew
Yeah,
that I could always
yeah.
cheat in a little bit because going there, and there, if you get a windy day, there were definitely some pop-ups that went out to straightaway
Yeah,
center. But yeah, that's what it was. It was labeled as 330 all the way around.
Really?
probably just got
And
330-foot signs at a discount. So
Yeah, that would be. You could literally tell me that, and I'd have been like, "That checks out." Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a
multiple
hitter's park, though. Go
multiple
ahead,
people told me
Blake.
that the mound was a little short there. Have you guys ever heard that, or do you have any thoughts on that? Comments? Like
Yeah, I think
lengthwise, like
I
it might
can't
have not
remember
been
what, but
60.
I don't know if this is like folklore also, but I heard or I remember that it was like 59 feet. So
Yes,
I don't know
multiple people
why.
said that.
I don't know if that's actually true. And the field doesn't exist anymore. But like, who knows? But that's the story I heard too. I can't remember where I heard it, but someone had
Interesting.
mentioned
Yeah,
that to me as well.
I thought that was an
I
odd
never
thing.
measured it myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. You already talked about your tea work a little earlier. Did it become more sophisticated as your career went on? Do you have any more thoughts on what you like doing?
Sure, yeah. Like when I was at Illinois, I would have man, I can't remember it. I would have a tea routine that I would do, so I'd always get to the park early. Tea work. Uh, I always struggled. Uh, just I would get jammed, so I did a lot of tea close to my body, high, and just
Yeah.
kind of try to work the other way. And then the other one I liked was tee out in front of me to really stay through the ball. So it was just a drill
Hmm.
that really helped me. Sometimes I would be short to the ball to my back. So I just would put that tee, to a spot that was a little uncomfortable. And it was actually a drill
Yeah.
that JR and I did a lot before our senior year when we had some success. We both finally had some success at
Yeah.
Illinois. And it was just something that I kind of stuck with and stuck with as long as I played. So I think tee is
Mm.
super important. It's hard to get young kids to buy into the tee because they view it as t-ball. But to me, it's one of the
Mm.
most important tools, and I use it for my own kids, my own teams I coach, and
Yep.
I loved it as a player. But I didn't really do much tee work high school besides in my garage, just trying
Okay.
to hit it hard.
Gotcha. I love that. Thoughts on flips, like front flips. I know some hitting guys think they don't like it. They don't like the angle of it. They think it's too easy. Some guys love it for the ability to get, quality pitches over the plate over and over and over again. What are your thoughts on front flips?
I actually did a lot of front flips through college, and then my brief time for the Twins, and I liked it. I think it can be. Maybe detrimental if the person throwing the flip is throwing it too slow. But I always like a fast, firm front flip. And to me, it's
Hmm.
kind of like the next step from tee. Like the tee, I'm putting the ball where I want it. Front
Yeah.
flip to me just allowed the guy throwing to me to put the ball where I
Ooh.
wanted it. So I
Hmm.
had to take the perfect swing. So it just gave me the feedback I wanted to get my swing feeling how I wanted it to feel, and
Yeah.
almost like kind of like a confidence booster to get me going. And I think it's a great alternative. Like some people can't throw BP at
It's true.
all. Like if you can't throw strikes, is BP really beneficial? So to me, it's a good
Hmm.
alternative, I think, for youth coaches, and I really loved it. I know it's getting a little bit of hate these days, but when I played, I really liked it. And I do it with
Hmm.
my softball girls, but that it's a truer emotion for them is the front flip.
Love it. Favorite player growing up?
A-Rod. I get buried
A-Rod.
for it. So I was a diehard Cubs fan, so I love Sandberg,
Right.
Mark
Yeah.
Grace, but I would think I was like in eighth grade. A-Rod had I got Sports Illustrated delivered to my house.
Hmm.
A-Rod had a article in Sports Illustrated. I read it, and like that was my dude from that moment forward. And then, later in his career, he did some things but A-Rod for the Mariners and a little bit for the Rangers was the guy that it's actually
Oh
why
yeah.
I chose number three. Like I was three in basketball, three in
Oh,
baseball, and it
really?
was it was because of A-Rod when he was a young guy.
Awesome. That's those are the little details, my man. Um, Greatest hitter, greatest pitcher of all time, in your opinion?
Barry Bonds as hitter, just
Yeah.
steroids or not, that dude like just him in
Hmm.
his prime was elite, and just
Yeah.
like to hear him talk about hitting and just his thoughts is great stuff. Pitcher, that's a tough one for me. Prime Jake Arrieta
Ooh,
for
interesting.
Love that.
Interesting.
just
At
like a
least for
six
one
game
year.
window. Yeah, just
Oh
a
man, I
2 year
mean,
window
Yeah.
of Jake Arrieta is my guy.
he had like a 1 point something one of those years, didn't he? One of those years he
He
won the
did.
Cy. It was just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
He had a run of
Yeah,
like 62 innings and allowing one run where he was just
yeah,
unhittable.
unhittable. Yep. This is a new question I've been asking guys, and I hope so. You looked at these questions beforehand, I imagine, but fill
Sure.
out a
Yep.
lineup. Fill out a lineup 1 through 9
Ooh,
of
I'm
your
not ready
favorite
for it.
position players. You're not ready for this one?
But I'll do it. Can I just name my favorite position, guys?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, each position, your favorite from each
Okay.
position.
Man, this is tough. I'm gonna go off the cuff. Uh, Catcher. I'm just gonna go from like my prime era. Catcher, Pudge.
Yeah.
Okay. First base, I'm taking Mark Race.
Ooh.
Second base, Sandberg.
Yeah.
Shortstop, A-Rod.
Mm-hmm.
Third base, Scott Rowland. Now outfield, I'm gonna go Griffey. In center, man. And then I'll put Barry Bonds in the outfield somewhere, left or right.
From left. Yeah.
Uh, and then I'm going to go another Cub. It's going to get a lot of hate. Sammy Sosa,
I
prime
saw where they
Sammy
just brought him
Sosa.
back. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
back in the fold now, isn't he?
yeah. I saw they brought him back this year.
Yeah.
So,
Who's on the bump?
mm, prime Jake Arrieta.
I'm Jake Arrieta. Way to do that. This is an interesting
That-
question.
if you asked like 12-year-old Dusty that same thing, it would have been a
Yeah,
very similar lineup, I feel
I tried to
like.
reflect back to like 12-year-old me who I liked.
Yeah.
Right? Oh man. Did you ever try to emulate anyone's swing?
Probably A-Rod, and I'm sure like I was a big like I don't know if kids still do this, like on deck, act like I was, Albert Pujols or, guys like that. So I would always do that. But as far as like mimicking their swing, probably just A-Rod, but nobody else really. I was kind of true to my own swing, but I like messing around with wiffle ball, soft toss, and just kind of mimicking guy swings. But
Yeah.
like when I struggled, uh, once I got to college and like summer leagues, I was like Cal Ripken, changing my swing a lot
Oh
and
man.
got
I
in
did
some
the same
dark,
thing, buddy.
dark, dark places. But yeah,
Okay.
Dusty, I
dark
remember when
places.
you were younger, well, like even when you were dad was even still coaching. He would have from a very young age. I mean, most of us were just getting up there taking hacks, right? But when you were up to the plate, I mean, he would have a bunch of different key things that he would say, whether it was weight or hands or whatever. Do you remember any of that? And was it specific, or do you not remember?
Just some of it, and a lot of it was like he wanted me to swing hard. He wanted me to always make sure that I got the barrel of my bat to my back. Like, so that was just a cue that he gave me. Like, I don't, is that correct? Who knows? But it's just something that worked for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to have just a strong grip at contact. So like to be strong at contact. So and then hit bombs was his only other tip.
Hmm.
Now, how much, like, there's obviously so much information on swings out there now. How much are you paying attention to that? What do you think is interesting? What do you think is stupid? You have any thoughts?
Yeah, so like I talk with like coaches at Evanston where I teach, just like my hitting philosophy, and a
Hmm.
lot of my hitting philosophy is actually pretty hands off until you show me that you need hands on. So
Mm,
like there's certain things that I think kids need, you know, uh, like I need to be in my power ready to hit position at a certain time, and that's across the board. But I'm not big into swing path or things like that. But to me, because right now I currently coach younger kids, so to me
yeah.
it's like the foundation. Like have a stance you're comfortable in, get your foot down. Uh, Small talks about approach, but just like I when I went to Illinois, there's just some things with my swing that were worked on and adjusted. And in hindsight, I just wish I would have stuck with what I had until
Hmm.
I failed. And I just
Yeah.
kind of made some switches. So that's just something I second guess sometimes. So that's kind of why my hitting coach philosophy is show me that
Off.
you need the help. If you're
Yeah.
successful, I mean, I don't care if you're swinging like this. Eventually, you're going to
Yeah.
have to change, but
Yeah.
go with what you got. But that's where I love Instagram hitting. I love listening to different guys and
Hmm.
different
Me too.
things. But like not too opinionated on it.
Well said. Did you listen to the Cale Henneman story yet?
No, but I know, but I love Kale.
You know, then
Great family.
so he told a
I
story
know what's
on
coming.
there, yeah, about you coming to his birthday party. Like he worshipped you so much. Somehow there was an interaction. I guess you knew his dad or something, but they asked you
Yeah,
to come to the birthday party to be like the celebrity guest. Like, tell me what that was
yeah.
like.
Oh, it was awesome. Like, I mean, I remember being in their basement with the brothers, and they're just like playing baseball in their basement. I'm like pitching, but I actually like enjoyed it. Like, it was just it's probably why I'm like a teacher and teach PE, and like I just love that kind of stuff. I can't remember how we first met, but maybe they came over to an Illinois game, and then I just connected with the family. We hit it off. Kale and his uh, brother were awesome, and like I just
Yeah.
stayed connected to the family, and I really enjoyed following the family's path. But yeah, I remember being at that birthday party, hanging out in their basement, throwing pitches for a couple hours. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. I remember that.
How
That'll
old
be
were
my
you?
next one I listen to.
Yeah.
I
How
think
old
I
were
was
you?
college, 2021,
Okay. Okay.
maybe a little older.
Okay. It was a hilarious story, and you're going to be absolutely blown away by how Kale talks about hitting. That guy is next
Okay,
level. He should be a
good.
pro hitting coach. It's just listen, everyone out there.
Okay, I will.
I consider myself someone that has educated myself quite a bit on hitting, and I text
Yeah,
him all the time, and I'm
I know
like,
you
tell
have.
me what you think about this.
Sure.
He's incredible. Hitting wise, were you looking fastball? Were you ever guessing pitches, anything like that? Were you looking at part of the plate?
Sure, yeah. Like high school, just see ball, hit ball as hard as I possibly can. And then
Yeah.
college, made some adjustments. So like up the middle, gap to gap, fastball. If I could recognize spin without two strikes, I wasn't going to swing at it.
Yeah.
Just didn't have much success hitting any breaking ball slider. The problem
Hmm.
was recognizing it, so I would always try to wait till two strikes. I think that's what
Yeah.
really allowed me to have some success. My senior year of college was my first few years. I was like my coach would tell me it would piss me off, but like I was swinging at pitches that Albert Pujols couldn't hit. So
Yeah.
I think I made that adjustment, and like to me it was fastball. Uh, Middle away was what I preferred, and started to make that adjustment.
Okay. Um, I think you already answered this, but how hard would you say you swung percentage wise in games?
Sure, like as close to as hard as possible, close to as
Yeah.
100 as you can get.
Yeah.
Two strikes, uh, college, uh, a lot different. So, like ball in
Yeah.
play was a premium, and would try
Right.
to minimize. I would open my or widen my stance a little bit with two strikes, and really
Mm.
just try to put the ball in play. And it's just something that really helped me. High school, I was taking full hacks and
Yeah.
just trying to hit the ball and stay out of two strike counts.
Hmm. Gotcha. Did you ever struggle with any parts of the mental parts of the game?
Yeah, a lot. Especially as I went to college and the minor leagues. Like I think I said it before. Like in high school, growing up, I never had any like doubt. Like I was there, I was going to get a hit. If I didn't get a hit, it was a fluke. And then
Yeah.
went to college, had some failure, and just really struggled with the mental grind, a lot of doubt. And I feel like once that doubt slips in a little bit, I don't think it ever fully goes away. And I really
Mm.
didn't just handle the failure and the mental side of the game as well as I could. And I think that um, kids and coaches today do a better job focusing on that, where
Yeah.
I wasn't going to talk about it with anyone. I was just going to be a grinder and grind through it and fight through it. And it just, in hindsight, like I think that's like one, I wasn't talented enough, but two, I think I didn't handle the mental aspect of the failure as I advanced as well as I could have.
Well, also the era that we all played in, like there wasn't a lot of talk about that. There wasn't a comfortability to be able to go to your coach and be like, "Hey, I'm having some mental issues. Like I need to figure some stuff out. Like I'm losing my confidence, or you felt like that would be looked upon as, or I did at least, I thought that would be looked upon as a weakness, as a reason to take me out of the lineup. If there's so yeah, it's a lot different now, right? There's all kinds of mental skills coaches out there. Every major league team has a whole staff dedicated to the mental part of the game, and these guys use them a lot. Joe, you got anything?
Yeah, I mean, that's so surprising to hear because, I mean, just a couple years before that, everyone was witnessing you. No moment was too big for you. So
Yeah.
I think in everyone's mind, we just assumed that you had everything figured out and it was ultra confidence and it was, all the reps and things like that, that how just surprising to go from 2 seasons before that, no moment was ever even recognized by you. You're hitting home runs in the biggest situations against the best players.
Hmm.
And then to hear that how quickly after, well, I mean, from an outsider's perspective, you sort of think like, why would someone who was so successful come in? Why would you change anything
Yeah.
about them? And then to hear you say that the mental aspect of it was a hurdle for you, it's even harder for I think everyone around you to understand because we were just um, never saw that from you at any other time. So I can imagine for yourself, you were probably caught by surprise as well.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, it was just tough. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, it sucked. Didn't love it. And then I talked about it the first time around. Like, just felt like I was letting people down a little bit. Like
Hmm.
of what I was supposed to be. I was
Oh,
supposed to play Major League Baseball. Like that was
yeah.
it, and that was why I was here. That's what I was supposed to do. That was what I was going to do. And I think just like the realization that like okay, maybe like that's not going to happen was tough. And on me selfishly, but then also like even though I know people now like no one cared, but like just the feeling that I wasn't gonna do that when that's what I was supposed to do and that's what everyone thought and expected was tough, and I just really struggled with it.
Do you, wow, do you still feel shades of that at all? Like you, in some ways, let Pleasant Plains down? All these people that thought Dusty was like supposed to be a major league all-star?
Yeah, I do. Like, I mean, this is uh so I took my girls to the Cubs game uh on the Friday before Easter, and I walked in the park and part of me is still like, damn. And like I'm so far removed from that. Like I played my last game 20 years ago that
Yeah.
actually mattered. And I was like, you have a cup of coffee in the big leagues. I had a cup of coffee in rookie ball, but it's just still like that part of me, like, from the eight, like I heard Ryan O'Malley tell the story about him telling his grandma when he was 10 that that's what he wanted to do. Like
Hmm.
that is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I think you talked about it, Blake, with maybe with the different guests. And like that's what I like identified as. I was a baseball player.
Oh
That's what
yeah.
I was going to do. So like it's still like, like I said, sits with me a little bit that
Yeah.
I didn't get there, even though I was so far away. It's so ridiculous to say it out loud, but
It's not
like it's just
ridiculous.
for 15 years, like that's like it was it. I was playing in the major leagues. No doubt about it. Like that was who I'm supposed to be. And so yeah, I still have like dreams that okay, I got a second chance. 42-year-old me, I'm in the dugout. I can't get up to the
Yeah.
plate though. So
Man,
That's where it stops. Yeah, the
yeah,
magnitude of if there's something that you're inherently really good at and you don't meet expectations, it's much harder to deal with, right? Like, I don't know that any of us are good dancers, but like if we were to go out and try dancing and not be good at it,
I can
there
dance.
you don't feel devastated, right? So like for something that to everybody's mind and your own mind say, hey, this is the thing that I'm best at. And when you struggle
Hmm.
at that, like I get that like in my job, like if my job is sales and I'm supposed to sell, and then if there's a moment when I don't win something, I start to downward spiral because I'm like, this is the
Yeah.
one thing I'm supposed to be good at. Like
Mm.
how, I mean, who cares if I don't get, my notes put in or, something marketing or whatever. But if I don't succeed at the thing I'm supposed to be the best at, it's a mental thing that you start questioning, hey, like, what am I even doing here?
Mm.
yeah, you're right.
Dang.
Like that's I think you nailed it. Like that's my thing. Like and for me that was baseball and that's what I was going to do. And so it was tough.
And the amount of conversations that Joe and I have had discussing how confused we are that you didn't make it, borderlines on creepy, wouldn't you say, Joe? We've talked a lot about this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, more than probably the length of this episode.
I mean, let me rephrase that. In some ways, just making it to professional baseball is making it, right? But obviously, you had aspirations of making it to the big leagues, and I still don't understand, man. I look back on this 6'4" guy who's really athletic and can play multiple positions. You know, you could have played first, you could have played third. Led the Big Ten in home runs and RBIs, and get signed as a free agent. I don't understand that, and I don't understand how you go to rookie ball and you put up good numbers, and that's it. I just this game is so crazy, so cruel. We talk about timing
Yeah.
so much. I guess the timing wasn't right. I still don't get it. I still just don't. I don't know why you weren't drafted out of high school. That was the what? Like all the guys I talked to said. I mean, PJ said it. He was like, "What else do you have to do? What else do you have to do to get drafted? If Dusty Bensko does not get drafted out of high school, what do you have to do to get drafted?" It's one of the great mysteries to me. Sorry, I'll get off my soapbox here, but I
Oh
feel
no, it's
upset
okay.
about
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
Dusty.
Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's like I said, it's none of that that bothers me. Like I'm sure high school me, I definitely thought I would be drafted.
Yeah,
But it's also like kind of what we talked about earlier. It's also like I don't know, like there wasn't a ranking, you know what I mean? I wasn't, it was like pre that, so like I really
yeah,
had, it was almost like word of mouth, like, oh,
yeah,
this is going to happen to you. I talked to scouts, they came to practice and things like that, but you know, you just never know. So like I don't feel
Yeah.
cheated in my experience or what happened. Just more so disappointed that I didn't get to the level that I had hoped. So
yeah,
like I don't feel wronged or anything like that. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
do I wish maybe I had a longer chance? Of course, but I think if you probably ask any guy that comes
Sure.
on, they wish that
Yeah,
they maybe had a chance or two more. So to me, it's more
100%.
Yeah.
so just like the not making it part's what bothers me. And I've never
Yeah.
been like bitter to anyone or bitter about it, but
Yeah,
just more so the disappointed side. And would an extra chance here or there helped? Uh,
sure.
Probably not because like to me, if you're good enough, like the chances are higher. So
Yeah.
it is what it
Okay.
is.
Yeah.
I got you.
And you were kind of maybe at the tail end of an era where, winning was still kind of the main focus and people didn't jump around as much. So, and obviously everyone else benefited from that too. Like if I imagine those, comparing that to now, don't you think someone of your talent back then would have been tempted to just go right to a Chatham, right? Like would all the best talent collectively look around and say, "Hey, where are all the best guys playing?
Yeah,
Where are the best pipelines going?" I feel like today that's much more commonplace to say we're going to go put our kids in the best place to be seen, not
yeah.
necessarily the best place to win.
Well
And
said.
I think 25 years ago or whatever it was, we were still ultra focused on, we can win here. This is our community. But, and so I don't know that that's the same. Certainly where I live here, just outside of Dallas, there's the kids that my oldest son grew up playing with just 3 or 4 years ago. The moment that someone breaks out and they're good, they immediately go to a different team or a different school or whatever. So, uh, you know, it's hard to compare today versus back then because obviously there's a lot of kids from the central Illinois area that continue to get drafted and have careers. And
Yeah,
I think if you ask anyone who was around then and now, your name and your accolades and your performance would stand up against any of them. That's kind of what I always tell Blake is that he asked me and I'm like, played against him, Dusty was better. Played against him, Dusty was better. So
yeah.
that's kind of what the mystery is for us.
That's the mystery.
Yeah,
Okay,
I hear
okay.
you.
I think
Yeah.
I think we've given this subject quite a bit, and I really like how we talked this out. So we'll
Yeah.
move on
So
here.
let me say
Sorry.
one more thing though, because
Okay.
the way that we ended that is at that moment I did ask Blake. I said I wonder if Dusty ever knows like that we were all proud of him and that like where it just
Hmm.
became such an expectation that you
Yeah.
deliver every single at bat and score every single time. And I kind of asked that question before, like, is there any moment that you felt, justified in, like I did a good job? Because I hope that you don't feel that everyone around you what like isn't super proud and super impressed and, by everything that you accomplished and admire all that. Like, cause that, for every, as much as it matters to you, like you were our guy, right? Like if you made it, we made it. So like there was a little bit of a selfish thing with us that we're super proud of everything you accomplished, but I think all of us too wanted that for you, but selfishly also wanted it a little bit for us so that we could say,
Yeah.
yeah, that was our guy.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Feel like, are you trying to make me cry on the podcast, Joe? Come on.
Well, it's
No, no,
it's
no.
getting
So,
late, so I mean,
yeah.
it's getting late, so we got to end it somehow,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
not
No,
there
no,
yet.
I appreciate it. So, yeah, I hear you, and it's appreciated. And yeah, like as I've grown, I know that that no one feels that way. But just in the
Right.
moment, it was like that was part of like the struggle when I stopped playing was like the expectation to play and continue to
Yeah,
play and to make it, and who was I letting down? Mom,
sure.
dad, friends, sister,
Yeah,
family, and it turns out it was none of them. But in the moment, it just feels like everybody. So
yeah.
For sure.
Well said. Before we move on, I just want to say, regardless of how far you made it in baseball, you will always be Dusty Bensko, and I think that wraps it up. Just I gotta say, you're Dusty Bensko. So anyway, we'll move it on.
thank you.
What was your favorite position?
Shortstop. So
Hmm.
I love shortstop. I harassed Coach Greer for like half a season my sophomore year to play shortstop. Like my freshman year, I think we had Kyle Schultz, Chip Wagner, two dudes, so I wasn't going to play shortstop. And then my sophomore year, I can't remember who started, but I was like, come on, I'm the shortstop. Let me play shortstop. I got to play shortstop. And then finally, like I just loved it. It was probably that A-Rod piece too.
Yeah,
Like that was my dude, and that's where I wanted to play. And like it was a part of the action. Now, like statesman wise, I knew we had PJ, we had Tug Hewlett, so like that wasn't an
right.
option. But like that was my favorite spot to play. Wasn't fast and athletic enough to do it in college, but I never liked third base. First base was fine, but like shortstop was my position that I really loved. And
Really
pitching was
wanted to
fine
play.
too, but not. I was more of a like a position guy in my own mind.
Gotcha. Do you have a most memorable game in basketball and in baseball?
Yeah, we've talked about them. So
Okay.
like for me, the basketball game is the triple overtime against Riverton.
Yeah.
Just playing our conference rivals on that stage, triple overtimes. One of the best games ever. We probably like Joe said earlier, we could have lost in regulation. We could have lost in the first overtime. We could have lost in the second overtime. And just to pull that out and to live the dream of getting to play in the state championship was awesome. And then baseball, like that triple overtime game's great, but I don't know if I've ever been a part of a better game and comeback than the top of the seventh, Pleasant Plains Addison Driscoll. So like I know you guys give me a hard time for what happened earlier in that game, but like that seventh inning, man, like just like destiny is like cliche and but like it
Yeah.
was just meant to be. Like what happened was just so incredible and to like I just watched it the other day and like I still get juiced up just watching it. So just so
Oh,
great. But those two games, triple overtime Riverton
yeah.
and then state title game our junior year.
All right. I got a weird question for you. How would the Statesmen
Yep.
have fared against U of I in a 7 game series?
Man. Uh
Could you have
I
taken
think
one or two?
that the Statesman would have what's that?
Could you have taken one or two?
I think that there's probably a way. I mean, if you go all-time Statesman, there's a lot of talent. There's a big leaguer on that roster. There's, Tug Hewlett, Joe
Yeah.
Hewlett,
Right.
guys that we've talked about. So there's a lot of college baseball talent. And I just think something about the togetherness and like thinking that we're gonna win could
Yeah.
could get a could scratch a game across. But like D1 talent, so there's just a lot of talent out there on an
Yeah.
Illinois roster. And
Sure. Whole
even when I
roster.
was there, we struggled for several years, but it would have been hard. But I'll roll with my Statesman guys any day of the week. But
Yeah.
I
Illinois, we
love it.
had some
It,
some talent on those
yeah.
rosters too.
Yeah. It's so opportunistic, right? I mean, you can stack one team of 9 all-stars that if you don't get hits and hit together at the
Yeah,
right time, you don't score runs, right? So, but like you get a team that clicks together, and you can have one stud and 8 role players, and all of a sudden you know how to manufacture them.
yeah.
Yep. Um, let's go top five influences from your athletic career.
Sure. Like my mom and dad obviously are huge ones. So like they really push me, sacrifice. Like as an adult now, I reflect and see like all the things that they did for me to have the chance, and that includes my sister. Like she was dragged around to baseball diamond after baseball diamond. I'm 10 years older than her, and she lived it, never complained, was a part of it. I
Yeah,
felt like one of my biggest fans, so just my family. Um, and then, man, top five, just my coaches throughout it. Like for the baseball side, Coach Greer really pushed me. Like he never took it easy on me. I didn't feel like I don't know if any of my teammates felt like he did, but he'd take me behind the dugout and mother F me just like he would anybody else, and really push me to be focused.
yeah,
Um, and then, and the other coaches are, the Finnegan family, um, was huge. Tim Hewlett, I only played for him for a little bit, but like to play under a big leaguer and just
yeah.
like that's the first time playing for him was the first time I really like thought about the game as much as like instead of just balling out. Like he really talked about the mental side, having an approach pitching, having an approach hitting. It's some of the first times playing for him.
Hmm.
Um, so, and then my teammates were big influences. Like that's a very BS answer, I know, but like really just like throughout my career, I had just such great teammates and from
Yeah,
growing up, Pleasant Plains, Statesman, even my college teammates and my pro ball teammates were all great dudes.
love that.
Is that
Next
enough?
question is, you got something, Joe?
No, yeah, that's like, it's good.
Covers it. So I want to ask you about your physical transformation in high school. I remember there was a period where went from being you kind of self described yourself as being a little softer, a little earlier in your life, and then I remember pictures of you being pretty darn lean, and there was you had a period where you lost some weight. How much weight was it, and what kind of was the motivation for you to kind of recalibrate your body?
Sure, yeah. So like my freshman year, man, I probably weighed 230, 240. I was like 6'2", 6'3", not
Hmm.
muscle. Uh, and then like I think I was going to a baseball tournament and somebody said like watch him around the buffet, and I was like, what? Me? And so it's kind of just like it's so silly, but it's like one comment was kind of an awakening, and I was like, all right, man. And then I was like struggled at basketball, a little bit out of shape. I played varsity as a freshman, but just felt like, man, I got to get. And then so like at that moment, that one comment just flipped a switch to
Interesting.
make me die. And then it probably helped, like adolescence, grew taller.
Yeah.
So then I played like my sophomore year, I was probably 6'4", 200. So just, and I think a big piece of it that helped me too was just eating better. But then Pleasant Plains also got one of the first like strength classes. So it was
Mm,
mandatory for us our junior, senior year to take strength in PE. And it
okay.
was, I think, valuable for all of us. And it really pushed us athletically. I'm sure we messed around a little bit in the class, but it was a big moment. But yeah, just that one comment was like an awakening. Like, all right,
Really
and then, you know,
fascinating.
to me, and then I just wanted to really push myself to be the best I could. But it's
Did you
funny
make
just
any
how a
big
subtle
diet
comment,
changes?
they didn't mean it like an attack on me, but
Yeah.
uh, I stopped coming home eating 5 chocolate chip cookies after school every day, 3 glasses of milk. So no, I just tried to eat healthier. Like my mom was a great cook,
Yeah.
was always going to cook for us, and just kind of focused on portion control more, and but nothing crazy, and just I think it was probably just like
Yeah.
continuing to grow in the weight room too.
Yeah.
And so there was, Plains did not have football. So there was this tiny little weight room, but like it was not a culture. There was no coach, there was no program, there was
Yeah.
no emphasis. Like there was emphasis on winning and skill and things like that. But as far as building your body, until we had that
Yeah.
class in, and even still, that was just us in there, maybe a little bit more than going through the motions. But like, physically building your body was not really a focus of anyone anywhere at Plains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That leads me into
And
my
that
next question.
our teacher was Libby Jenkins, who was a legend, and then my current brother-in-law Dan Watson uh, uh, taught the class too, and he was our assistant coach for baseball and basketball, and just a
Okay.
great dude. He was like someone I really leaned on even before he was my brother-in-law. Like when I went to Illinois, he's the guy I text was like, I'm done with baseball. I'm playing basketball. He's like, shut up, you idiot. You're not done. And just someone that I still lean on and look to for advice. But he was a
Yeah.
big piece of that puzzle at Pleasant Plains and helped my career too along, Coach Cameron, him, and Coach Greer.
Beautiful. I've got an interesting question here for you, and I already texted this to Joey maybe a couple weeks ago, but Plains now has football, right? They did not when you were there. Is that correct?
Yep.
Have you
Yes.
ever have you ever pondered this? So when I think of you, I think this guy is the prototype, at that time, around the late 90s, early 2000s, prototype QB. And I think have you ever pondered that? If Plains had football, do you think you could have gone down that path, been like a QB type guy? I mean, you have D1 QB written all over you.
Thank you, Blake. I love to hear that. Yeah, I think that I mean, Joe will probably agree. I think we all would have played. Like, I think
Yeah,
small town, it's
sure.
what you would have done, right? Not like the thing that I always wondered, would it have impacted our other sports and like taken
Big.
away? Like, in the fall, we're prepping for basketball and we're in open gyms. And, I think Joe was golfing, but like the rest of us were doing some basketball stuff. And so I always wonder if football, would we have been any good? Like I love to think that we had some great athletes, but would it have impacted our other sports in any way and kind of taken away from those successes? So, but I
Hmm.
definitely would have played. My dad played in high school. I would have loved to have
Hmm.
been a quarterback. I think Bo Gum and I always used to joke that he would have been QB1 and I would have been like T tight end one. So
I don't know, man. I see you 6'4", laser rocket arm, athletic guy. I mean, it says something to me. Okay. Looking back on that special time period in Plains where you guys were, double champs, how grateful are you to have been a part of that? I mean, like, man, like, not who gets to have that kind of experience? Like, I think back on you guys' Plains eras. I mean, I was a Springfield High guy, but like, so cool, so romantic. I have these really warm feelings about Plains because of you guys, because of what you guys did out there. I mean, do you look back and think, man, I'm so happy to have been a part of this?
yeah,
Lucky?
100%. So like I said, in March it was 25 years for basketball, and then in June
Wow.
it'll be 25 years for baseball for the 2000 team. So like I really have been like just looking back, reflecting, sent a few emails of like old pictures I found that my mom has, and
Yeah.
haven't heard from some guys in a long time. So, and then I'm going to do the same for baseball, but just like those memories, like I said, I drive into that town and it's just something special that no one can ever take away. And you can call me high school Harry all you want, but like there's just
No.
something about playing in high school with your best friends
Yeah.
that is there's nothing that's ever as good as that. Like I played on a
Right?
team that won a Big Ten championship. It was awesome, but it's just not the same. Played on a minor league team that won a championship. Awesome, but it's just something about that small town with
Yeah.
your best friends that like it'll live with me forever. And I look forward to each year when it rolls around, texting some guys, and anytime we can get
Yeah.
together, which is rare these days, but we don't miss a beat. You got
I love,
anything on
man.
that,
You're
Joe?
giving some great
Yeah,
answers.
it's harder to comprehend now than it was then. Like when we were in it, we were just kind of like, yeah, we're going to play as hard as we can, and we're going to, you just win and you do the best that you can. But like now that you've got time to look back, I mean, I could write a list a mile long of all the things that had to go right for us to make it all the way through. Like this, it's hard. it's hard to win a championship, not because of how much effort you put into it or game planning or strategizing. It's hard to win a championship because so many things have to go right.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I mean, the way the ball bounces, where, how the lineup was set, how the weather was, was somebody feeling good that day? I mean, there's so many weird little quirky things that you can point to and say, if that pitch that was borderline was called a strike instead of a ball, none of this happens. I mean, there's a million instances that we can go back and point to all of that. So the rarity to have I counted as three, obviously. So two in 2000, and then we
Oh
got
yeah,
basketball again in 2002. So like the rarity to have those championships all bunched together. I think there's certainly other schools and teams that have come along that probably have just as much talent. But so many things have to go right in order to make it through and win all the way through. It's really, I mean, really special.
yeah.
Obviously, all the memories are there, but I I tell my kids now, I'm like, that'll don't expect that. I mean, there's, from all of the kids that, like he said, I mean, if Bo doesn't move in, if Ryan Sunley doesn't move in, I mean, there's a
Yeah.
million different things um, that have to go right to make it all the way through. So that's special to think about.
Hey, great answers, boys. It's getting late here. We've got 15 questions left.
Yeah.
Let's power through. I can see some tired eyes,
Yep.
including
Okay.
myself here.
Yep.
Me too. Yep.
I appreciate you guys
I've
so
normally
much.
been
This has
asleep for
been
about 2.5 hours.
same, dude. I'm like a 9 o'clocker. So
Me too.
okay, I appreciate you giving me this time, man. Favorite basketball shoe?
Oh, I think, man, I still play some old man basketball. I always go with the LeBrons. But back in the
Yeah,
day, it was we had like Converse, which I hated. Coach Cameron made us get Converse, but I like
really.
the same cleat. The Hirachi was a basketball shoe too.
Yeah.
That was my favorite
Hmm.
basketball shoe.
Did you have a favorite basketball player growing up?
Michael Jordan. Outside of
Yeah,
him, I was a big Shaq guy, so I love Shaq when he
really.
was like the with the Magic. So those were my
Yeah.
two.
Okay. Who did you look up to? I mean, obviously, everyone looked up to you. Who did Dusty Besco look up to growing up? I mean, like
Yeah.
locally. Sorry, locally.
So like yeah, yeah. Baseball wise, it was a lot of Plains guys. So the '95 Plains team was the first baseball team that was good. They got third in state. They had like Chris Skeeters, T.J. Frazee, Justin Duraco, Jeff Killian, and like Coach Greer was great. Like so, I lived close to the field. I'd come down, I'd work the scoreboard, I'd hang out in the press box. So,
That's
like those
cool.
guys were like big leaguers to me. So like
Yeah.
those were the guys that I really loved. And then outside of the Plains guys, um, Corey Erickson was a guy that I just was young and, because he
Yeah.
drafted and high pick.
Hmm.
And then Jason Worth, of course,
Oh yeah.
too, were guys that I really like. That's what I wanted to be. They lived
Sure.
the experience that I wanted. But a lot of it was Plains guys.
Yeah. Uh, who did you love competing against in baseball and basketball locally? And a few names.
Yeah, basketball. Riverton was great. Like Clint Cuffle. Clint was a good friend of mine. Um, just a great player. And then like I just like competing against any of the statesmen too. PJ, JR, those guys. It was always fun to see. Like I hated those guys, became
Yeah.
their teammates and loved them, and then to play against them was a great experience. But those were the top for me.
Who guarded you the toughest in basketball?
Yeah, man, I saw this one earlier. Justin Barton. So he played for Riverton. He was
Really?
like he was probably 6'3", super athletic. He went to Illinois too.
Okay.
Super smart guy, nice guy. But man, I could not. He just gave me such problems. Just
Yeah.
hard. He guarded me so hard. I never really scored a lot against him. I made a bunch of free throws, but it was after he fouled out and they just kept fouling me and because we were
Yeah.
up. So I scored because I just got to go to the free throw line. But I could
Okay.
not score. Like he was by far the hardest guy for me to score on.
Okay. Locally, who did you have the most trouble with hitting? Like a pitcher, obviously throwing to you.
Eric Gum, apparently, 3 strikeouts. Uh, man, I'm trying to think, conference or like game in and game out. PJ was tough. PJ was really tough.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think anybody else. Clint Cuffle was actually a great baseball pitcher too, um, for Riverton. So he was a very good pitcher. Uh, and then like Bill Clayton was good. I don't think I ever faced Bill, um, but he was a great pitcher and another
Yeah,
guy. He was a year older than me,
hmm.
and just we need to get him on this podcast. I'm working it.
Dude, I have we've you and I have talked about this. Billy is a
Yeah,
very busy guy. He's in medical sales and stuff,
sure.
hard to get a hold of sometimes. Anyone out there, if you know him, text this man. I'm putting the call out there, the bat signal. Let's get him on. He's got an
Yes.
absolutely fascinating story. He was throwing mid-90s fuzz, went in the 10th round out of high school, arm blew up in college, never the same. I would love to hear how he thought about it. So we got to get
And
that
I think
guy
I
on.
texted this, Blake. I think I texted this. The most nervous I've ever been on a baseball field was he
All
got
right.
drafted like on a Wednesday, and on Thursday we're in the city versus area game, and I'm on the area team playing shortstop behind him, and I'm the most nervous I've ever been. So
Really?
just, but then I played with him for the Rifles. He's just a great dude. He'd be a great person on here.
We got to get him on. I think I know what you're gonna say, but who did you play with that could have played pro ball but didn't?
Yeah, Eric Gum's a definite one. I
Yeah,
always thought JR, like
yeah,
JR Kais. Like he
absolutely.
was great at Illinois. His senior year, he hit over 300, hit
Yeah,
12 plus bombs. He was
yeah,
a fast athlete, fast twitch, worked his
yeah.
butt off.
He
And
did.
I always thought that he deserved a shot, but like similar, just didn't get it.
The
So
breaks.
it happens. But those two guys.
Tell me about facing PJ as a hitter, just quickly.
Yeah, so I mentioned it. So I only faced him a few
Yeah.
times. When we were, or you mean him as a hitter?
No,
Him hitting
him
or me
throwing
hitting, Blake?
him throwing to you.
Oh, yeah. He was just tough. Like his senior year, he's just
Yeah,
nasty. Just a lively arm.
yeah,
And I was happy that he was on my team more than not. But he really could pitch. Pitching to him when we were young, he and Tug Hewlett were just these annoying pests at the top of the
yeah,
lineup that like
yeah,
would not strike out. I mean, they were gonna hit 50 foul balls and then get a
yeah.
base hit rocket on you. But they were those two at the top of the lineup before I played with them were just two tough outs.
Speaking of Hewlett's, I'm in talks to get both Tug and Tim on here as guests. So
Yeah,
fingers
they'd be
crossed.
great.
I got some
Yeah,
things working there. Uh,
yeah. Tug, I'm
nastiest.
gonna tell a quick Tug. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, please, let's go. Story
No,
time,
I'll be
Tug.
quiet. Go.
No, I
No, I
go, buddy.
just so Tug was in the major leagues. I just moved to Chicago. I hadn't seen him since we were 15. I go to watch him play at the White Sox stadium, and then
Hmm.
after the game, like he takes me out to dinner. Just like he is a great. I mean, I've said this a lot about a lot of people, but a top-notch dude. So if you can get him on, that'll be a great episode. But like he treated me like we had been spending every day together for the last 15 years.
That's so cool. And that's one of the best parts about this has been giving the gratitude towards people that were in your career that you think highly of and, putting it out there.
Yeah.
So shout out to Tug Hewitt there. Four more questions. Nastiest stuff you ever faced.
Uh, Glenn Perkins. I don't know if you know that name. He was a big leaguer, but I faced him. I was at Illinois, and he was pitching for Minnesota. So it's probably my sophomore or junior year. He ended up being a first round pick, like top 15 pick. But he first time through the lineup, all fastballs. My coach was like, he's throwing 84. We look up the guys doing the radar gun. He's like 94, but just effortless. Second time through the lineup, added a curveball. Third time through the lineup, added a changeup. I think we struck out like 18 times. So just filthy.
What
Had
is
like a
your best
15-year big league career.
What's your best memory from pro ball?
Uh, Man, that's a good one. Just so our team was great to go back to the team, and we won the league championship. And then So in the next spring, in front of all the other minor league members, you get honored, and every player gets called up in front of everyone, in front of all the coaching staff, all the players, and you get your ring. So like
Yeah.
that was, I just thought that was very cool of the Twins, how they honored each player in front of 150 other guys, and
Yeah.
that it is about pro development and getting to the next level, but they also um, cared about the winning aspect that meant so much
Yeah.
to me too.
Absolutely. And sometimes the winning aspect of it in minor league ball can be lost, and it's more about development. So that is cool that they were
Yeah.
finding a balance
Yep.
to
I
something like
appreciated
that.
that.
Yeah. Do you ever have baseball dreams?
Yeah, I talked about it. I do.
Yeah.
I have baseball dreams where I'm at Wrigley and I'm up to bat, but I can't get out of the clubhouse. And then I actually have a basketball dream that it's my senior year, and like for some reason we get a redo in the super sectional, and but the game never starts. Isn't that so dumb? But I still have those.
Man.
Do you okay? So do you picture yourself back at Western at Macomb, or is it just like a generic gym, or is it very specific?
It's at Western, but I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah,
42-year-old me, and I'm like, let's go ball out. So,
yeah,
but yeah, so it's
makes perfect
me,
sense for a dream.
current me, but like
Yeah.
Dusty, redo, get your guys together, go play, and I'm like, we're back. So
That's so hilarious, dude. I have this baseball dream too, where I get called back from my college coach at Murray State, and he's like, "Hey, man, we need an outfielder. You got to come back." And I'm like, "I'm 40 years old and I got a torn UCL. I can't run anymore. Are you sure you need me back?" And he's like, "We need you." So I'm like, I come, and like we're about to start practice, and then the dream's over. It always ends that
yeah,
way. I
that's
never
me.
actually get on the field.
I Yeah, same. I never get to the
Weird.
court, and I never get to the batter's box.
I wonder what a psychologist would say about that. All
I
right,
know, I know.
No.
last one, buddy.
Yep.
What are you most proud of looking back on your career?
Yeah. So to me, we talked about it a little bit. And it really is. It's what everyone has said that isn't about sports. So, like just the character stuff. That's what like my family values. That's what I try to pass on to my children. To me, that's what matters, and that's why we play sports. Is
Yeah,
all those tough moments, and then just what type of person you truly are. And I think that like I want people to know that I'm genuine, and to think when they think of me, they think a good teammate too. And so I
yeah.
hope that like I was those things throughout my career, and I appreciate everything that everyone said
Yeah,
tonight.
I love it. Well, guys, we're at the end
Yeah.
here.
Well, so one thing, like I want to say with Dusty, like the tradition of things always mattered. Call it superstition or routine or tradition or whatever it was, but like we had a really good thing that well, we did have a really good set of parents. But I mean, it was I talked about the free throws before the game, but like his mom and his parents, so like they would welcome all of our team into their house, and we would have pregame meals on, for regionals and sectionals and playoffs and all that, and it just kind of became like a tradition and expectation, right? And so I mean I think that um like Dusty said, the it wasn't the only thing that mattered wasn't, just did you win the game or not. Like all of the traditions mattered too. Like we really enjoyed, all the time on the buses, and in between games and pregame and postgame and all that stuff. And so um it was never it was never a rewind of, hey, who made what shot, or did you get that on video? Is that going to be on the news? Let's go home and tape it. Like it was always, as soon as the game was over or even pregame, you talk about flipping that switch on. I mean, it could easily just be flipped off, and right back to being friends immediately when it was over. I know you made the comment too early that like you're still Dusty Bensko. I think a lot of that comes from so much media coverage there. It was before social media, but I mean, I've got boxes and boxes of news clippings and state journal register and all that. And I mean, it was very rare for anyone to talk about any one of our teams or anything without having his name front and center in there as well. And so just again, it would have been very very easy to get caught up in all of that success being, and his success and team success being just fueling wanting more or needing more, but very admirable trait that Dusty was very rooted in all of the traditions, all of the things that mattered. The way you treat people, the way people felt. So probably, obviously, I uh, probably most proud that I got, to ride coattails for the longest time, and I get to say, tell everybody else that those successes are also mine too. But I guess right after that would be how great of a guy and a family you are.
Yeah,
Thanks. I appreciate it. Hey,
that
I
was
got a
great.
I got
Sure.
an episode idea.
Let's go.
You ready for it?
Yeah.
Joe interviews you, Blake.
Ooh.
Just a thought.
We've
Shoot
kicked
it shoot
around
it
the
down.
idea of doing my story on here at some point because I mean I'm not
Yeah,
Dusty
I think it'd be
Bensko, but
great.
I had a pretty wild ride through baseball myself,
Yeah,
and we've talked about it. I'm very open to that idea. The timing has to be
yeah.
right, but yeah, I would love
I
that.
got a
Well,
host.
guys,
We got a host right here, Joe.
I know. Well, we're at the end, man. We made it 3 hours tonight. What do you guys think?
I can't believe that my kids didn't come down outside, or my wife, and
Yeah,
I can't believe I'm awake at this time
Me
of
too.
night. Only for you guys would I do this.
Man, I really
yeah.
appreciate you
And I,
guys.
now listen, now Dusty won't care about how many views it gets, but I am not. I will be watching how many views it gets.
For
My
sure.
ego does need that. So so if you need a little bit of money to put some paid social behind it, you know where to go.
Dusty, thank you so much for coming back, man.
Yeah,
I truly meant it when I said I felt your first episode, the time you came on, was incomplete, and I wanted to bring it home more full circle, give you the full experience, hear from guys. I think we got a great picture of you. We heard more about Dusty the person, Dusty the athlete, from all these incredible guys. So thank you to all these guys that participated too. Thank you to
yeah,
BJ, Jordan Roth, Bo Gum, Eric Gum, obviously Joe. Thank you for giving me your time. I mean, this is it's not the easiest ask to say, hey, can you give me 3 hours starting at 9 o'clock and you got to go to work in the morning and
yeah,
you got to take care of your kids. So everyone's gonna love this. This is part of the Dusty lore. I think yeah, this has been great. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so
yeah,
much. Do you have anything else you want to
yeah.
drop on us? Otherwise, we're gonna take it out.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks, Joe. I appreciate you so much. Uh, I really appreciate you doing this night, and Blake, you too. So, like,
Of course,
uh, I loved doing it the first time. I did not feel that way at all, and it actually is therapeutic in a way. So, I love what
of
you're doing.
course.
I love listening to other guys, and I really enjoyed just talking through like my life in baseball and sports.
Yeah.
It just helps me like reflect and look back. So, what your work is really appreciated. So, thank you both of you.
Thanks, buddy. Your life and your career were truly a journey worth remembering. Joe, do you want to take us out? How about that?
Well, now since he brought up Sammy Sosa earlier, I wish I'd have worn that jersey, but I did wear my authentic Andre Dawson jersey here just to
Yes,
bring it back.
yes.
I'm an old Cubs fan as well, so no, I don't live near a bunch of the guys that we grew up with, so any opportunity to get together like this and talk shop, I absolutely love. It's crazy to think that we're how full spectrum the podcast has come.
Yeah.
Obviously, the sky is the limit, right? I hope you are still very passionate about it and
Yeah.
motivated and keep going. Because obviously anybody that you have on, it's special to them, but you never know. I think at some point we had talked about, this reignites conversations between old
Oh
friends and
yeah.
old family members and dads and sons and all sorts of stuff. So it's neat to have this way to connect when we're all adults and have
Yeah.
a million other things to do that don't have a ton of hobbies. So this is fantastic to come back on.
Yeah. Okay. You want to take us out?
I've not signed off before. I mean,
Do the best you got. What you
I,
got?
I have I have no catchphrase ready. So I don't listen. I'm not the producer on this, so I don't know if we're going to run some sponsors before or after. But obviously, support the podcast. That's what I'll leave you with.
Okay.
If you enjoy any of these stories, support the podcast.
Yep.
Post game spread. We're out.
We're out.
All right, thanks, boys.